Tim Hughes with a look at some of our top stories. The vast majority of Utahns in a new poll say the economy is on the wrong track. Here's KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
In a new Deseret News Hinckley Institute of Politics poll, more than 800 registered Utah voters were asked if they thought the U.S. economy was on the right track or the wrong track. 71% said it's on the wrong one. The poll also asked those Utahns if their personal financial situations were getting better, worse, or staying the same. Nearly half said their finances are getting worse. Only about 1 in 5 said their financial situations are actually getting better. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
The American Bar Association is debunking myths ahead of next week's election. David Becker with the Center for Election Innovation and Research says that people should also know we probably won't have the final results on election night.
And so there were enough ballots to be able to call the race earlier in the period of time after the polls closed than there is now, because we have 7 states that we expect to have razor-thin margins.
The ABA says they want all lawyers to think of themselves as election lawyers right now, with a duty to educate the public and dispel misinformation. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: the presidential candidates are heading west today. Former President Donald Trump will be drumming up support from the Latino community. Vice President Kamala Harris will be making her case to battleground states Nevada and Arizona. Let's take a look at your money at this moment. Markets having a tough day. The Dow is off 382, almost a full percent. The S&P is down 86, 1.5%, and the Nasdaq down 2.3% right now with a loss of 428. Coming up, a couple of 50-degree days, and then we'll be lucky to get there for the rest of the 7-day period. We'll talk about it. KSL News Time, 9:02.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the 9s, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
You need to meet my aunt. Her name is Rochelle Morris, and she's running for Salt Lake County Council. She's super smart, and she really cares about people. She wants Salt Lake County to be a great place for kids. That means safe parks, safe streets, good rec centers, and making sure taxes go down instead of up. Go to voterochellemorris.com to learn more.
Thanks, Zoe and Tilly. I'm Rochelle Morris, and I'm running to make Salt Lake County work better for all of us. With my background in managing money in the private sector, I'm committed to cutting waste, holding the county accountable, and maximizing and protecting your tax dollars for you. Together, we can ensure Salt Lake County is a great place to live for many years to come. I'm Rochelle Morris, and I approve this message. Learn more at voterochellemorris.com.
That's voterochellemorris.com.
Paid for by Rochelle Morris for Salt Lake County Council.
Don't you deserve health care you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Utah, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
Step into the warmth of the holidays at Western Nut. We're here to make gift-giving special and stress-free. Grandpa's favorite peanut brittle, a gift basket with a variety of nuts and treats for your neighbor who brings in your garbage cans. How about your coworkers? Yep, we've got you covered with our nut gift boxes, pre-wrapped in holiday paper, homemade caramels, baking nuts, popcorn brittle, dried fruit trays, and cashews galore. Local honey and jams, and our Nut of the Month subscription give a variety of nut gift boxes straight to their door. Our shop is a winter wonderland, and this year, join us to kick off our huge holiday preview sale and save on everything in store. 4th South and 3rd West, November 7th, 8th, and 9th. Stuck at the North Pole? Visit westernut.com or call our team, who will take your order and ship your gift with care. Western Nut has been a part of Utah family traditions for nearly 60 years. More than nuts. At Western Nut Company, we sell memories.
Attention Utah professionals.
Join us at the Utah Business Forward event on November 20th, 2024 at the Grand America Hotel. Learn from successful Utah leaders, including Kurt Doman of Progressive Leasing and U of U women's basketball coach Lynn Roberts. Dive into breakout sessions on entrepreneurship, people and culture, acquisitions, AI, brand marketing, and strategic leadership. Don't miss this opportunity to connect and grow. Visit forward.utahbusiness.com to register today.
Traffic and weather together is brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. I think it's Heather in there.
It is, Tim, and we've got pretty good drive right now anywhere you want to go across the Wasatch Front, but we've got some slower traffic northbound I-15 as you come up from the I-80 East 201 split into downtown Salt Lake. This is a slowdown. There's some debris in the roadway near 700 South. The crews are having to remove, so they're slowing all the traffic right now, and they are just calling out another crash on the interchange between I-15 and I-215, so that could slow you down as well. At the Big O Tires Fall Into Savings Sale. Come in and save up to $120 on select sets of 4 in-stock tires now through November 3rd. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today, mostly cloudy, although I guess there's a few clouds out there. Small chance of rain in the afternoon. Highs are going to remain in the 50s, but Matt did say your ghouls and goblins will be dry, so we hope that's the case. After a high of 55, right now it is 43 degrees with the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. I'm Tim Hughes. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Inflation at 2%, right around there. So why is it that so many of us feel like the economy is going in the wrong direction?
I know exactly why. I'm not going to tell you right this moment, but I am absolutely convinced why we feel like the economy and the country is headed in the wrong direction. It's 9:06. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things that Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
In our 9 o'clock hour, a new CDC screen time study has triggered Dave's screen time test, and we're all going to take it. This is where Dave will help us learn if our daily addiction to screen time outweighs our sleep time. The data is showing about half of teens, the 12 to 17-year-olds, okay, preteens to 17-year-olds, had 4 or more hours of screen time a day. Dave thinks that might be an underestimate.
Last week I was 8 hours and 20 minutes. Oh, man. That's icky. That's icky.
Yeah, I just jumped around the newsroom. I said, hey, will you pull up your screen time? Let me know what you're at. Everybody underestimated their screen time by hours.
1 hour and 3 minutes on TikTok, 2 hours and 13 minutes on Instagram. Oh, my gosh.
Countdown. 2.
Well, we are seeing more and more signs. We got another one today that the economy is getting better. Yet a new poll that we read in the Deseret News shows 71% of Utahns say we're going the wrong way. Why? Well, Dave and I are going to put our own family budgets under the microscope in the 10 o'clock hour, and we're going to reveal where we ourselves are going the wrong way with our own personal spending choices.
If I'm being totally honest, I'm pretty frustrated with economists telling me how great the economy is right now. It's like if you gained 50 pounds and then all of a sudden 1 week you lost 2 and everyone's like, oh, you're on the right track. This is phenomenal. You're like, no. I'm still plus 48. This is bad news. Stop telling me that it's great and that we're headed in the right direction.
Launch countdown. 1.
Our top story out of the gates this morning, there's been a new development in the story that we've been tracking right here on the Dave and Dujanovic Show. In the Utah County Clerk's revelation to the Deseret News earlier this week that he's tracking how politicians, or he has been tracking how politicians submit their election ballots. Clerk Aaron Davidson publicly revealing that State Senator Mike McKell dropped his in the U.S. mail without applying a postage stamp. Davidson has been urging voters to use stamps or election drop boxes instead of mailboxes. Well, when Senator Mike McKell called the show yesterday, he said this about Davidson releasing the information about his ballot.
One of the things that my election clerk said is he wanted to keep a list so he could call out elected officials. And to me, that's clear voter intimidation.
Making a list, keeping a list, checking it twice, figuring out who's putting a postage stamp on their ballot. It seems so petty to me to be tracking these kinds of things. And because we get caught up sometimes in the little things, I'm worried that this just turned into a major thing.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The launch.
Commence.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
And that new piece of information was reported last night on KSL5 television by Lindsay Aerts, that Senator Mike McKell is saying that his voter record was set to private. So the question is, if it was set to private, why did the Utah County Clerk release any information about the senator's ballot?
First of all, I had no idea that private exists. I just assumed my ballot is private. So what are we talking about? What does this private mean? Let's talk to Lindsay Aerts from KSL5 television. Lindsay, what does this private mean? She's not quite on yet. But Debbie, you actually found this online, right? I mean, you were looking through.
So let me get to where the Utah County Clerk was on the show yesterday with us as well, responding to this story from the Deseret News. And Clerk Aaron Davidson told us this info that he issued, that he put out and he released to the Deseret News was just public information that's publicly available.
Anyone can pay $15 and get those records, and they can look at how anybody returned their ballot. You can look at politicians, you can look at your neighbor, you can look at anybody that returned their ballot. You can know how they returned their ballot.
Lindsay Aerts joining us right now. Lindsay, what does this private mean?
Yeah, so Dave, the Utah state law allows a voter to choose whether their voter registration status becomes private or withheld. So there's different categories of whether you can make your status private. And by default, voter information, personal identifying information is made public unless you choose to make it private or withheld. Now, Senator McKell tells me that he made his voter status private. So the question becomes, just by revealing not just the method he used, but that he used a stamp or that he voted in general, does that become a violation of a private voter status? And that's something lawyers are probably going to figure out. We know that McKell has reached out to the Utah County Attorney's Office, who has told us that they are screening for if there was any violation of the law here. But that would be the main concern, is whether revealing some of this information violates his privacy status. Now, Davidson maintains that he didn't reveal any personal information and that it is public knowledge how someone cast their vote. And he's right, it is public knowledge how someone cast their vote, how someone cast their ballot, but the as voted lists that he cites, those don't track whether you used a stamp or not. They only determine if a voter voted by mail or in person. That's how they track which method you use. They don't go granular into whether or not they used a stamp. Davidson had to direct his office to sort the ballots by stamp or no stamp when they came in the mail, and that's how he knows which voters use a stamp and which didn't.
So to be clear, Davidson told us yesterday, the county clerk, that he did not look at the actual ballot itself, and he didn't keep and track that information. He did not keep and track that information. So what is the question at hand is how he came to the conclusion, and then, of course, release this information to our colleague at the Deseret News, Lisa Riley Roche, that Senator McKell had not used a stamp on his ballot when he put it in the mail, which he can. He can do this. This is a legal method. I didn't use a stamp either when I submitted my ballot. And so now the question is, Lindsay, at least from what I'm understanding, is how Davidson came to this information about McKell's specific ballot. Has he been tracking other ballots from other politicians that live in the Utah County area and submit their ballot through the Utah County Clerk's office? And that brings me to the next question is, who's looking into this? Is it going to be the Utah County Attorney's Office? And that's as far as we know right now?
Yeah, so there's a lot of questions in there. Let me stop me if I don't answer one of them. But the Utah County Attorney's Office is initially screening for any potential violation of state law. And if they determine that this should be furthered into an actual investigation, they may hand it off to someone who's not in Utah County in order to neutrally look into this, right? Because the Utah County Attorney represents the county, right? So they may have a conflict of interest there. So it may get handed off at some point. We're not to that point yet. As to your question as to whether, like, how Davidson actually did this, he would have had to isolate McKell's ballot in some way. And that part is a little bit unclear still about exactly how he isolated it. But essentially, if he's tracking who put stamps on and who did not, then in the system that the county clerks use, he would be able to either look up McKell's information and see whether there was a stamp there. And like he said, he did it for other politicians. On the record, Stephanie Grecius tells me that he made a comment to her about her ballot status back in June, and she didn't think anything of it at the time, but the more she thought about it, the more concerning it felt to her. And so she also came forward yesterday to say that that had happened to her as well. And so he did have to isolate at least these two individuals in some way to see, and because his office tracks whether or not a stamp was used, he was able to tell that for at least one voter.
Lindsay Ertz, thank you for joining us from KSL 5 Television.
Thanks so much, Lindsay, for the update. We'll continue to follow your reporting at KSL 5 TV and also, of course, our own team of producers and reporters staying on top of this developing story. Straight ahead, a new CDC screen time study is triggering Dave's screen time test, where Dave will help us learn if our daily addiction to screen time outweighs our sleep time.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
If you're looking for some help, for some resources because you have a family member that is struggling with addiction, Renaissance Ranch can help you.
Yeah, they have these free weekly online classes. They're open to the public, and they mean that. They're open to the public. So even if you don't have a family member who is enrolled in Renaissance Ranch, is a patient at Renaissance Ranch, you can attend these classes, and you can attend as many as you want.
I'm just looking here on Thursday. They have a women's support group, a family support group, a wives support group. This is throughout the day. There's one that starts at noon. It goes as late as 8:30 at night. But all you have to do to find these free online classes that are open to the public is to go to renaissanceranch.com.
The end is in sight.
There's got to be a morning after if we can hold on through the night.
And on that Wednesday, we'll take a deep breath and dig into the results. Get continuing election coverage up to the big day and analysis the morning after from KSL News Radio.
There's got to be a morning after.
Every day, Cintas service reps help businesses get ready for the workday. They provide freshly laundered workwear delivered every week. Mats, mops, restroom and cleaning supplies. First aid and safety products to help your employees stay safe. They even test and inspect fire extinguishers and emergency lights. Cintas helps keep your business running smoothly. See what Cintas can do for you. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
I'm Michelle Quist, and I'm running for Attorney General. For too long, the AG's office has been bogged down by scandals and partisan politics. Utah deserves an independent Attorney General focused on restoring trust and integrity. I'm an experienced litigator and appellate lawyer, and I believe politics have no place in law enforcement. Let's bring transparency and accountability back to the Attorney General's office. I'm Michelle Quist, asking for your vote by November 5th.
Paid for by Michelle Quist for Attorney General.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Utah State Fair Park. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Utah State Fair Park. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Utah State Fair Park. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Utah State Fair Park. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Utah State Fair Park. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Utah State Fair Park. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Utah State Fair Park. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Strange events.
At night, when I'm on my bed, they come to me.
In a small town.
As far as any place in the state of Utah goes, I think Eureka is probably one of the wildest.
Echoes from the past.
From the souls of long-dead miners.
KSL's Andrew Adams takes you along.
Are you trying to count how many spirits are in here?
For a chilling look inside Haunted Eureka. Tonight on KSL 5 News at 10.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, in a survey of more than 800 registered voters, 71% think the U.S. economy is on the wrong track. Second, Hurricanes Helene and Milton disrupted economic activity from Florida through the Carolinas this year, but unemployment filings are still down to 216,000. And third, rocket fire from Lebanon has killed 5 people in northern Israel, including 4 foreign workers. Shooting for a high today this Halloween of 55 degrees, and right now in Salt Lake City with the sunshine, 43. Let's get you back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, the headline here is that 4 hours of screen time gives you anxiety. It can give you depression. I feel that. I feel anxious. I don't know if I would say I get depressed over it. I get bothered that I spend so much time on my screen. But I'll tell you something else, Dave. I think my screen time is more per day than my sleep time. But you decided, let's put it to the test. Is it just Deb? We're going to take a walk around the newsroom.
1 hour and 3 minutes on TikTok, 2 hours and 13 minutes on Instagram. Oh, my gosh.
What was that?
That's Deja Brown over in the KSL Traffic Center. Holy smokes. Hey, listen, we have no idea how much time we're spending on our phones. This is the aha moment for me, because as I was going around the newsroom, I just said, hey, how many hours do you think you're spending? And then let's do the reveal. And it was routinely hours more than what they thought. Now, this was really focused on teens. This is where the research was focused.
And this is new research, right?
New research, 12 to 17 years old, said, how much time are you spending, kids, on your phones, watching? And this was removing school. So if they were going to school and they were in front of a computer, they weren't counting this. It was 4 hours outside of school.
Okay.
That's the key. And they found that that's where the depression, the anxiety skyrockets.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's 27% after 4 hours said they felt anxiety. 26% said they felt depressed. Sad. And that's our teens.
Yeah, that's a quarter kids, right?
So perhaps my takeaway from that would be, look, I might not have those same emotions as an adult, 57 years old, on social media that a teenager would have. Wake up call to parents, right? Your teens are having a different reaction potentially than you are.
What really stood out to me, though, Debbie, is that 4 hours, that matters. Because if you scale it back to just 3 hours, the anxiety and the depression were cut in half or by 2/3. If you just went 3 hours. So sometimes we swing to the extremes and say, no more screen time. Absolutely no. But even if you go from 4 hours to 3 hours, they found that anxiety and depression is cut by more than half.
That's curious to me. What do you think is driving that? Because that's not a lot of time shaved off of screen time.
It's a great question.
Like inundated with too much, and there is a threshold where we just jump the shark, if you will, with too much information coming at us all the time. I'll tell you, this is a conversation I had with my youngest daughter recently. Of course, she's in her 20s. And she said there's some social media platforms that she's gotten off of deliberately because it just jumps from one topic to the next where she feels like it's, she's getting paintballed with all kinds of different information coming at her all the time. And 1 minute somebody's talking about the election, and then the next minute they're talking about how to bake a new pan of brownies, and then the next minute it's something maybe negative that's going on in the world. And she's like, my mind can't shift that quickly, and as a result, I just feel like I'm just caught up in this crazy cycle of too much information all at once. I thought that was a really great observation from her.
Well, think about if you're talking to a friend, or maybe you're talking to a grandma or grandpa, and they are hitting 50 different subjects rapid fire,
yes,
one after the other, we would think, is there something going on? I mean, you're jumping. You can't continue a thought.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly what's happening. I didn't realize it until you were describing that. That's exactly what's happening. You're watching something funny 1 second. You're watching a dance. You're watching something highly politicized. It is bouncing around, and it is emotional and intellectual whiplash. You are getting yanked from one area to another. And it doesn't surprise me that when kids are spending 4 hours in their downtime, that anxiety and depression skyrockets.
And just one more point here. Think about how social media has changed from a slower format on Facebook to a quicker format on TikTok, where videos are encouraged to be right around a minute, or YouTube Shorts now, these short videos on YouTube, where it just entices somebody who's watching these videos to flip through. And then if you're not interested in that video, if you give it 5 seconds at best, and then you're on to the next one. So even the way social media has changed over the years, and how it's becoming more of an inundation of more and more videos all at once, that could be affecting our sense of anxiety and depression.
You may remember one of the most popular social media apps early on was an app that ended up folding called Vine. And Vine was 6-second videos. The entire social media platform was 6-second videos. That's it. And people fell in love with it. Now it ended up, ending badly. They ended up folding. But I also think Vine would do great today.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think it speaks to that 10-year change with the way we consume social media. It was a little bit too much 10 years ago. Today, it would be amazing.
Now, when it comes to our kids and also to us, you felt like that 4 hours that, in the CDC study, it says teens, that are using social media for over 4 hours have a tendency to feel depressed and anxious. You felt like that was an underestimate, right? And that's why you walked around the newsroom to ask the adults who work here, could I put your screen time to the test? And as it turns out, I am guilty of this. My screen time, on average, Dave, you didn't ask me this question, but I'll just reveal it here, is like 5 hours and 48 minutes a day, which is more time than I spend sleeping.
That's crazy. I hadn't really thought of it in those terms. Are you spending more time on your phone than you are sleeping?
Mm-hmm.
You would think, oh, yeah, of course I am. Look at your screen time. When we come back, I want to play some of these interviews as I jumped around and asked adults, how much time do you think you're spending on your phone? And then let's put it to the test. Let's see what the real number is. And it was all over the map.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Tim Hughes. Let's look at some of our top stories this half hour. Police in Ogden now trying to track down a driver who they say hit and killed a man in a car wash parking lot last night. Officers say a 63-year-old man who didn't work at the car wash was pronounced dead at the scene near 7th Street and Washington Boulevard. Misty Kelso tells KSL TV that victim was her father.
He dumps the garbage, he checks the vacuums, he picks up the things to make sure the stuff's cleaned up. He'd be here, rain, snow, or shine.
Police are asking anyone who may have information about the case to give them a call. A man who was suspected of being involved in a deadly hit-and-run in Layton has been released from jail. Police arrested Jesus Casillas earlier this month after they say he confessed to covering up damages to the van involved in the hit-and-run. Investigators don't believe he was driving the van at the time of the incident. The suspected driver is still on the run and believed to have fled the state. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Economists were anticipating a jump in weekly jobless filings to close out October. Instead, the number fell another 12,000 in the week ending October 26th.
In the first half of October, Hurricanes Helene and Milton disrupted economic activity from Florida through the Carolinas. Storm recovery is still going on, but the economy has largely shaken off the impact, driving weekly jobless filings down to 216,000. On Friday, the Labor Department will publish October's big picture employment report.
That is ABC's Jim Ryan. Your money at this moment, tough day of investing. The Dow is down 362 points, about 0.9%. The S&P off 1.5%. The NASDAQ losing 432 right now. That is 2.3%. Coming up, we'll check that Halloween forecast for moms and dads. Let you know what is expected tonight for trick-or-treaters. KSL News Time, 9:32.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
How do you know that Salt Lake County Mayor Jenny Wilson has protected our tax dollars? Because not only has every one of her budgets been balanced and passed with bipartisan support, but Jenny has made tough choices and maintained Salt Lake County's elite AAA bond rating with all three ratings agencies. Only 1% of American counties can say that. That saves you money. Mayor Wilson knows the cost of living in Utah is too high. Jenny is a common-sense public servant focused on one thing: fighting for Salt Lake County families.
I'm Salt Lake County Mayor Jenny Wilson. I made our rec centers free for kids because so many Salt Lake families are struggling to make ends meet. Between inflation, shrinkflation, and the housing market, cost of living in Utah is out of control. As your county mayor, I'm trying to make things a little easier for you and your family. As a mom, I also know our rec centers are a great way of getting kids off the couch and away from their screens. Let's keep working together to make Salt Lake County a better and more affordable place to live. Paid for by Wilson for Mayor.
Every year, we seem to have a few people trying to get our free furnace promotion after the sale has ended. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I know you want to save as much money as you can, but that's not how sales work. When they're over, they're over. Lucky for you, we still have a few more spots on our schedule we need to fill, so I'm extending the sale, but I'm not quite sure for how much longer. Definitely no later than the end of October, and once I think our schedule's full enough, I gotta pull these ads, so don't wait too long to call and schedule your free estimate. Just to recap, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. So if your furnace and air conditioner are ready to be replaced, don't be one of those people that wishes they had called and taken advantage of our free furnace sale. The estimate's free, and we'll make sure you have all of the information you need to decide if our free furnace sale is right for you. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Let's get that look at traffic and weather together here. Brought to you by Sinclair's DonaldPay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. Heather Kelly's in the traffic center.
Well, all the freeways are now moving along at speed. If you're in Utah, Salt Lake, Davis, and Weber counties, also going to and from Park City on I-80 or coming out of Tooele County. It's a lot of the city streets or the secondary freeways that are showing a little bit of slowdowns, and most of that is in the construction zones like Bangor Highway around Bluffdale and Legacy Parkway northbound moving from Bountiful to Centerville. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
All right, it says today mostly cloudy, small chance of rain in the afternoon. So just to help mom and dad out, I looked at the hour-by-hour forecast. Sunset about 6:24 tonight. But partly cloudy all the way through 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock tonight. Temperatures are going to be in the upper 40s or lower 50s. And right now in Salt Lake City, 43 degrees. From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, I'm Tim Hughes. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com to Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
A new report shows that, from the CDC, by the way, shows that about 50% of teens, half of teens, spend 4 hours a day or more on their screens, probably on their phones, but on a screen. And Dave felt like that was an underestimate.
Because
go ahead.
That is what I think. I think I probably spend 4 or 5 hours on my phone, and every time I bring it up, it is hours more per day.
It's like a calorie count.
It is totally a calorie count.
I only consumed 2,000 calories this day, and then if you really tracked it, like me, I'm like, oh no, it's more like 3,000.
Fun-size Snickers don't count.
I'm in the 3 grand category. But this prompted something, an experiment of sorts, a screen time test, and because we didn't have time to send. What are you dressed as today, by the way?
First of all,
Happy
I'm dressed
Halloween.
as, Happy Halloween.
We were too scared to send you over next door to West High because what are you dressed as?
Anger. Inside out, anger. That's who I am. And I'm a little bit angry that I'm the only one dressed up.
I know, you texted
Tim
me.
and Amanda, not dressed up. Debbie Dujanovic, not dressed up. But do you know who dressed up as anger? This guy. With the flaming hair, and I'm the only buffoon that got suckered into this.
If you're on our app, and if it's safe to do so, download our KSL News Radio app, and you can watch us live. We have cameras rolling in studio at all times, and there's my co-host Dave Noriega dressed up as anger. Well, I flew in on my broomstick today. I'm surprised you didn't notice that, Dave. I don't really need to dress up. This is just how I am. Like, I am who I am.
Just how I go.
Okay, so back to your screen time test. You walked around the newsroom, and you started putting your screen and your phone in front of people's faces, right?
Yeah, I asked them, okay, what do you think you are? How much time do you think you spend? And then I'd have them do the grand reveal. So let's start off with Tyler from HR. What do you think your daily usage is?
I would have guessed about 4 hours. That's what I would have guessed.
So when you look at it, what's your average?
I am at 5 hours and 14 minutes for this week, which is down 41% from last week, apparently. So
let's go back to last week, down 41%.
Can I look at last week? Oh, there we go, last week. Last week I was 8 hours and 20 minutes. Oh, man. That's icky. That's icky. I don't like that.
Thought it was 4 hours, ended up being 8 hours. Also talked to Deja Brown, who's in the KSL Television Traffic Center, and I asked her, okay, same question. What do you think it is?
9 hours and 40 minutes. Oh my gosh, my mom will be ashamed. But look, it's down 7% from last week. Oh, that's not. Oh, wait, it just went up 42 minutes. 9 hours and 42 minutes. Oh, wow. Was I the highest?
You're the winner.
Oh, no.
the TikTok.
It is probably from the TikTok. Oh my goodness.
You have your screens or your apps.
Let's see.
If you want to look at your apps.
Okay, so an hour and 34 minutes already today.
So if you go back a day.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. Yeah, that'll tell you.
4 hours and 24 minutes on social, 46 minutes on information and reading, and 29 minutes on travel. 1 hour and 3 minutes on TikTok, 2 hours and 13 minutes on Instagram. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it adds up.
It is an aha moment,
Yeah.
right? When we hold ourselves accountable. And then I came in and I wanted to talk to Tim and Amanda, who also didn't dress up for Halloween. I'd like to just point that out. And I asked Tim, okay, look at your screen time. Where are you at?
I don't ever look at this, but I'm shocked.
Which way? That it's so low or
that
it's so
I spend
high?
that much time on the phone.
What is it?
I mean,
Are you going to admit to
this
it?
is how I track news all day because I know we're going to talk about it the next day. 6 hours and 6 minutes averaging a day.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found consistently was everybody wants to justify it. Like, oh, well, I do it for work.
Yeah.
I do it. I'm 100% guilty of saying, I do that.
So if you're just joining us, we're talking about a new CDC study that dropped about teens and screen time use, and it found that about half of teens spend 4 hours a day or more on their screens. But it turns out Dave found out that the adults here at Broadcast House are in the or more category, spending as much as 8 hours. I was about 5 hours and 38 minutes on average. But there were days in my week last week, Dave, that I was on it for more than 8 hours. And you're absolutely right when it comes to the justification. I want to say like, oh, I used maps going back and forth. I use maps, and so that's 40 minutes one way and 30 minutes the other, depending on traffic. So that's an hour. I totally do that. Just like I do when I pretend that I didn't eat 3 Oreo cookies, so those don't count in my calorie count for the day. I also want to listen to what Amanda Dixon told you about her screen time because Amanda and I are friends. So I'm a little snoopy here. Let's listen.
I don't know how this is possible, but I'm only 2 hours.
Is that 2 hours this morning or
No,
2 hours?
Says daily average, 2 hours and 3 minutes.
She's
Amanda, you are.
She's good
Why
at
am I
everything.
not on my phone? I feel like I'm on my phone.
You're
all
the first person on the moon. You're the one that we put on the face of Time magazine.
No.
Like 2 hours? Are you kidding me?
Well,
that is absolutely incredible.
My students, though, I have them check this, and we talk about it, and they're so high.
Okay, so what's the highest that you've seen?
16 hours.
Oh my 16 hours a day. 16 hours a day. Amanda's there at 2, and she's a rock star. She's a superstar.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are some things we can do to change this up? Caitlin Johnston, our producer, joins us right now. Caitlin, I asked you the same question this morning. What did you think it was, and then what was it
I thought it was
actually?
at least 6, but I didn't quite know for sure. And it was, well, I'm looking at my weekly average is 8 hours and 25 minutes, and it's about 8 hours was what I was on yesterday. And it's just embarrassing. But looking at what I've been on right now, like from this morning, I've only used my phone to work. An hour and 24 minutes already. So this is what I'm just
We're
doing
on our
the
phones a lot.
justification,
That's how
but
we
I literally
communicate.
am, but I also doom scroll. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I do want to share. I do social media cleanses because I get really overstimulated by it because I don't think I.
Could you give us 2 tips on things that you have done? Because you do a great job of cutting back on social media and you do it with intention. So give us 2 tips on what you've done to police yourself when it comes to social media use.
The first one's obvious, but delete the apps off your phone. But if you can't do that,
Well, just delete it?
that's what
the
you should do.
The entire thing?
It works. I do it on the weekends every now and then, but the problem I have is I have to re-download them because I work and I manage social media accounts, and so it gets a little frustrating when I have to do that so often, but it works. But a way to just get it out of your face that's helped me, and I've recently done this, is there's a new feature on iPhones where you can hide apps, and it's a privacy feature, so you have to use your Face ID to access them. You can't search for them. You can't just find them. But I put my social media apps in the hidden app folder, and it just makes it harder to get to them.
I love this. I didn't know this.
I still get on them. I'm not saying I don't, but it's like an extra scroll. I have to sit and wait for my Face ID to load, and you think about it twice, and half the time I just decide I don't want to get on it.
Okay, so if I hide the apps, what it does is it makes me ask myself if I go to use it, because so much of this is like just like, riding a bike. You just get on it. You know how to do it. and you don't even think about it. But if I can stop and think about it, if there's a little bit of a speed bump there, then I'll be like, do I really need this right now?
Yeah.
So I love that. What's your second tip?
Turning off all of your notifications and utilizing focus modes. I think Androids have focus modes as well, but do not disturb. I have focus mode set for where I'll receive specific notifications when I'm at work. You can do it by location. So they'll automatically turn this focus mode on when you're at a location. So at work, I get a lot more notifications from calls, texts, news articles. No, I don't have any social media notifications. That's number one. But as soon as I leave work, it shifts to a different focus mode, so it's a quieter focus mode.
Okay, so let's say you set your location for focus mode to do not disturb to your gym.
Yes.
Can you do that?
Yes, you can.
You can. So you're not on the weight machines, on the treadmill, getting notifications, and it's automatic when you go into the geofence?
I have it set in the location, but also if I turn my fitness on my Apple Watch, it will also turn it on. So, yes, if you're just working out, it'll silence your notifications.
So we got to look into
it. It does help.
These are the things, how we want to start to structure our lives so we spend less time on social media. Great tips.
Here's another little tip really fast. Turning your phone to grayscale. I'd never heard of this. I didn't know this was a feature, but you can turn your phone to grayscale. So all the videos, all the posts, it's all black and white. It's not as stimulating. It's more boring. It's not as captivating. And you can lose interest in it. I think that's a great tip.
Thanks. Great test, Dave. Good job. Caitlin, thanks for your tips. Straight ahead, we have a missing police canine. The search has been going on for about 9 days now. We may be in our 10th day. We're going to get the Davis County Sheriff's Office on the line next. They'll reveal the next step in their search for canine cache.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's a trick to podcasting at work and getting all the Utah news you love.
Download the KSL News Radio app.
The podcast for Utah's morning news and Dave and Debbie are right there. Dozens of podcasts a day.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
As election season winds down, it's time to cast the most important vote of all. Which team you're cheering on in this year's rivalry game. It's KSL's Ballot Battle. Go to KSLNewsRadio.com and cast your ballot. Vote BYU or Utah. When you vote, you're in to win a basket of gear from your team. Cast your ballot now at KSLNewsRadio.com and may the best team win. It's KSL's Ballot Battle from the legacy home of the BYU Cougars. KSL News Radio.
Hello, this is Congresswoman Celeste Malloy. I'm running for re-election to represent you and keep Utah's conservative values in Washington, D.C. Like you, I'm tired of a government that spends too much, listens too little, and makes all of our lives harder. In Washington, I'm pushing back against bad ideas and liberal policies. Let me keep representing you so I can keep fighting for you, because we are just getting started. I'm Celeste Malloy, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Celeste for Congress.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Every day, Cintas service reps help businesses get ready for the workday. They provide freshly laundered workwear delivered every week. Mats, mops, restroom and cleaning supplies. First aid and safety products to help your employees stay safe. They even test and inspect fire extinguishers and emergency lights. Cintas helps keep your business running smoothly. See what Cintas can do for you. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
I spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Jeff Kaplan. I'm energized by breaking news. First of all, because it's right now, and second of all, because in many cases the audience needs to know. There's no more important service that we can provide, and I find it critically important to get more details to the audience as quickly as possible. There's nothing more energizing than that for me. Not at all. The most important thing we do is breaking news. I am gratified that so many people listen to me every afternoon on KSL, but what they don't know is that there are so many people behind the scenes making it happen, checking on the traffic, answering the phones, making the calls, talking to the newsmakers. They're out in the street, into the field to get the raw information, and then putting it all together so that I can sit in front of a microphone and be a source of information every afternoon. But there are so many people who make it happen. That's what you don't know.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekdays 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, police in Ogden looking for the suspect involved in a hit and run that killed a man last night. Second, don't panic if you see smoke in Mill Creek Canyon. Crews are going to be setting a series of prescribed burns along Mill Creek Canyon Road. And third, the presidential candidates headed west to battleground states Nevada and Arizona. It's their last chance to appeal to voters in the states before the election. We're going to look for a high today of 55 degrees, and right now I was beginning to think the thermometer was broken, but it's warmed up, 45 in Salt Lake City. Let's get you back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
David Dujanovic.
It's been almost 2 weeks now that a police canine in the Davis County area ran off and went missing. And now the Davis County Sheriff's Office, which is going to join us in just a moment, is taking a next step in their search for canine cache. We're going to talk to them about it.
Yeah, lost dogs, super common. Highly trained dogs that just run off, that is extremely rare. Like, I don't know if I've ever heard this story before. I've never seen where a police canine actually goes missing or runs away from his handler. This was so shocking to me, but I know the amount of training and the time that is spent with these animals is enormous. The expense is extremely expensive. So, yeah, I absolutely understand. This is not just, hey, I've lost my pet. This is something that is extremely valuable for a department.
So last seen October 21st, just before 9 o'clock in the evening, outside the Davis County Jail. This is Davis County Sheriff's Office asking for our help. He was, taken outside by his new handler for a bathroom break. Every dog needs a good bathroom break. We can all understand that. Unfortunately, he was not on a leash. So Stephanie Dinsmore with the Davis County Sheriff's Office, canine cache just took off running. Is that what happened and hasn't been seen since?
That's correct, Dave and Debbie. And I just want to mention, Dave, you bring up a really great point about the amount of training that goes into these canines. I do want to be very clear, though, that canine cache had only been with us a short period of time, just about a month or so. He's about 1 year old, so he has not actually gone through these high level of training programs that we often think of when we think of canines.
So any idea what happened, or could you describe a little bit more for us how this went about?
Sure. So we are still going through an administrative review to just understand every single step that was taken and where we fell short. And so, as you've mentioned, he was taken outside on October 21st, just before 9 p.m. to relieve himself. He was not on a leash, and he did take off. And so our search efforts have been pretty extensive over the last 10 days, doing grid searches in Farmington, the waterfowl management area, as well as using our drone team to see if we can find any sign of him. And unfortunately, that has not resulted in anything producing cache.
Is there any sort of working hypothesis on what might have happened? Is perhaps the chance that somebody picked him up and doesn't realize he's a police dog?
Yeah. So that is where we believe our efforts should be focused right now, is that maybe somebody does not realize still that he is a missing police canine, and they may have him at home. They might be in a different city. If you're familiar with Farmington, Farmington is a very close-knit community. There are several different Facebook groups that Farmington residents use. And I can tell you that a dog in this area does not go missing, and it is not posted to Facebook if that dog has been seen. Farmington residents are on top of it. They notice when a dog is off leash and running about their neighborhood.
Can you describe Cash?
Yeah, so Cash is a 1-year-old German short-haired pointer. He is brown in coloring. He's got a brown patch on his back. He does have a dock tail. We have received several tips, including dogs that do not have that dock tail feature. And so he does have a dock tail. He is not neutered. So those are just a few of his identifications. He's wearing a black collar. The black collar, though, does not identify him as a working police canine.
Oh, okay. So what's the next step? You offering a reward?
So the next step is we're hopeful that this reward will incentivize people to come forward. We do understand that coming forward with a police canine may be intimidating to individuals. And so we have several options that are available. If they want to send us a private message on Facebook, they can call into dispatch. They can drop that dog off at Animal Care of Davis County. Animal shelters across the valley have been informed about our missing canine. And so our preference would be that if you could bring him to Animal Care, or if you're willing to meet at a neutral location, that would be wonderful. We just want to see Canine Cash returned to fulfilling what he has set out to do, which is to detect narcotics in the jail once he completes his program.
Is there any concern that Cash, being 1 year old, is there any danger to approaching the animal, or should we stay away, or is he nice enough that we can try to coax him?
Yep, great question. So Canine Cash is a very friendly dog. He was actually donated to us by a family, and so he is extremely friendly. There are several different types of police canine animals. Canine Cash was going to be used for drug detection, narcotic detection, and so he is not going to be used as an apprehension or bite dog. And so there shouldn't be any concerns for people to approach him. However, if everybody has a different level of comfort when they're around animals. If they're not comfortable, if they're willing to just keep a pair of eyes on them and call into dispatch right away, that's helpful. But we do understand that people may not be comfortable approaching him, and that's okay.
Well, having once or twice been bitten while in a bite suit for when I was a reporter with KSL 5 TV for a demonstration, I'm glad you've clarified that Canine Cash is not a bite dog. Because that can be scary for people. And fortunately, it wasn't scary for me because we had a lot of cops around and it was all staged. But still, they're quite aggressive if they are bite dogs. And so, question, Stephanie Dinsmore, by the way, with the Davis County Sheriff's Office, live on the line as the Davis County Sheriff's Office has taken the next step in the search for their missing canine Cash, offering a $1,000 reward for the person who returns Cash. He's been missing for several days now. No sign of him. Could be that somebody inadvertently, picked him up, not realizing that he was a missing canine police dog. So we talked to a woman yesterday. We just happened to be doing a segment, Stephanie, on air tags and and how they're used to track people. Yesterday, to do another case that we were looking into in American Fork. And a woman called the show, and she said she'd been on a walk with her neighbor's dog, and that dog is wearing an air tag, and it eventually alerted her cell phone that there was an air tag in the area. So it brought to mind when she was telling me that, knowing that Cash was still missing, I kind of wondered if canines on your force are air tagged or not for location, and if that's something that's been considered if they do happen to run off.
Yeah, part of our investigation right now is looking at where we fell short. Why was he not equipped with GPS tracking? Why did he not have any identification? And why was he not microchipped? So that is all part of our internal investigation. I have been told that our patrol canines are equipped with GPS tracking. And so while there can be limitations with that technology, specifically air tags, it can also be useful.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you joining us. Best of luck, and hopefully we can find Canine Cash, a German short-haired pointer. Is brown, is friendly, And if you find him, if you see him, make sure you call the Davis County Sheriff's Office, or you can call dispatch, and they can get people sent out to find Cash. So Stephanie Dinsmore, thank you.
Well, glad to know that other canines are tracked and equipped with tracking devices, because those trackers seem to be very, very effective. You and I talked in depth about those yesterday. You can, you were tracking your son's luggage across the United States. You can track your kids if you needed to, if you wanted to put a tracker in their car. I do want to point out that we have this story and a picture of Canine Cash on KSLNewsRadio.com. We'll also post it. Let's post that again to our KSL News Radio Facebook page so we can get lots of shares, lots of likes, so we can help Davis County Sheriff's Office track down Canine Cash.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. We're hearing what Utahns think about the nation's economy with less than a week now before Election Day. The vast majority think it's headed in the wrong direction, and KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
Several hundred registered Utah voters in a new Deseret News Hinckley Institute of Politics poll were asked if they thought the American economy was on the right track or the wrong one, and 71% said it's on the wrong track. The poll also asked those Utahns if their personal financial situations were getting better, worse, or staying the same. Nearly half said their finances were getting worse.
Only 19% said their financial situations were actually improving. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. With just 5 days to go, Vice President Kamala Harris heads out west to make her case in two key swing states today. ABC's Karen Travers says this is a final push for support before the election.
She's heading out west today to make those stops in Arizona and in Nevada. And when you look at her schedule in this final sprint to Election Day, this is it. This is her big focus on those two states before traveling back to Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina in the final days.
And your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down now 317 points on the day, while the NASDAQ is down even further, 443 points right now. And our KSL weather, we could see a little bit of rain today. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
You do countless things without a second thought to protect your family and home. Every time you're in the car, you buckle your seatbelt. Before the next load of laundry, you remove the dryer lint. When you head out, you always lock your doors. And one simple task, done far less often, can protect your family and home this winter. Schedule a furnace inspection by a certified heating contractor to check for safety and efficiency. A friendly reminder from Enbridge Gas.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
So this new dose is, well, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
Strange events.
At night, when I'm on my bed, they come to me.
In a small town.
As far as any place in the state of Utah goes, I think Eureka is probably one of the wildest.
Echoes from the past.
From the souls of long-dead miners.
KSL's Andrew Adams takes you along.
Are you trying to count how many spirits are in here?
For a chilling look inside haunted Eureka, tonight on KSL 5 News at 10.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, traffic is pretty much stopped right now. Southbound I-15 just after 53rd South in Murray down to 90th South in Sandy. It is due to debris that's been scattered across the roadway right near the 90th South exit ramp. Now, right now, traffic is being held at 90th South. So you can exit at 90th South, but you can't go past where the UHP has stopped everyone. Looks like there's hundreds of pieces of maybe a blown piece of tire. We're not quite sure, but it's going to take a little bit of time to clean all those pieces up. In the meantime, traffic's kind of stopped all behind it. Good news is nobody else has problems right now. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cloudy and cool today with just a chance of rain and a high of 55. More clouds going into the weekend with showers on Sunday. And right now, we're at 45 degrees. It's mostly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic,
your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories.
On KSL News Radio.
Well, there's just quite a few signs that the economy is doing pretty well. I mean, check your 401k lately. Just got news this morning that inflation is right around 2%. Yet a new poll that we read about in the Deseret News, Dave, shows that 71% of Utahns who were polled say we're going the wrong way. Why is that?
Because we gained 50 pounds and we can't celebrate a 2-pound loss. Because you're still up 48 pounds. And I think so often when I hear and I listen to economists, they're looking at what's happening now. They're looking forward. They don't look at what the past has done to us. And that is what hurts. When you're looking at the cost of housing, obviously, we've talked about that ad nauseum. We've talked about the cost of cars and vehicles and new vehicles and used vehicles. Every aspect of our life is more expensive for buying the exact same stuff. It's about $1,000 more per month than just a couple of years ago. That's what we're paying for the exact same stuff.
Are you bitter about it?
A little bit. Can you hear it? Can you hear it in my voice?
No, I wasn't trying to be sarcastic either. I wondered if we're just to the point where you get so bitter about something. You know, it's like when you're in a bad relationship, you get so bitter about it, you'll never see anything good that the other person does.
Yeah.
You know, ever. You know, no matter what, you're just pretty much done. And so anything
no redeeming qualities.
Yeah, there's anything they put in their mouth to chew, they chew the loudest in the room. They chew louder and louder every single time because we're just done. And I wonder if that's where we're at, so we're not seeing the good that is happening.
You're right, because the 401k is going great. We're at an all-time high. The Dow is at 42,000. You're absolutely right. There are things that are very, very good. But it's hard to get excited about the 401k that I'm going to access in 20 years when I know right now I'm paying $3.50, $3.70 a gallon for gas. Every time I go and I try to buy a steak, it's $11.99 for a steak. So steak off the table. Let's go to the chicken. Oh, the chicken's twice as expensive as it was. It's very hard when every single day you're getting blasted to look into the future and say, oh, you know what? We're headed in the right direction and it could be worse.
And I know a lot of people just looking at this Deseret News poll are also really do feel like their personal finances, their personal economy, that kitchen table talk that goes on every single night, like how are we going to pay this bill and what happens to this and what happens. 48% feel like things are getting worse for them with their own personal finances. So we're pretty much swallowed up by this feeling. And I think the more we look at the negative sides of things, the more we feel like there's no way out. But you know what my measurement is how horrible I felt after former President Bush left office back in the early noughts, and President Obama took over the Oval Office. And, between what was going on in the housing market for many, many years prior in terms of fraud and people getting into homes that they couldn't afford to get into through fraud, and the housing market collapsed, and then the stock market collapsed, and then it was the concerns of the banks were collapsing. There was concerns over the major car manufacturers being able to figure things out there. It was just like one thing after the other. So when I compare how I felt then, and I remember very distinctly falling to my knees in the kitchen, I might have grabbed my husband's leg and I said, "We will never be able to afford to retire," because all of our retirement savings, the bottom fell out. It was literally like you didn't even want to look because everything was a calamity. Home valuations dropped because of all the fraud that was going on. And we just felt so out of control. So when I look at, I suppose maybe I don't have that same bitter feeling today because of how I felt, 15 years ago when I thought our personal economy, they called it the Great Recession. I'm like, we've got to be, I feel like we're in a Great Depression personally.
There's a couple things that the research has shown is if you're making six figures, you're less impacted. You feel more positive. If you're making less than six figures, then that's where the weight is lying. That's where most people are feeling stressed out and stretched too thin. And obviously when we look back to how we got here, that's what frustrates me more than anything, because I think every single one of us saw that we were going toward a cliff. During COVID, we are spending money hand over fist in the government. And anyone that was paying attention said, this is going to affect inflation. We all saw it. I'm not going to pretend like I was the only one that was, ringing the bell here, but I certainly was. You and I had talked about it numerous times when we were receiving these stimulus checks, and we talked about it. It feels good now, but this is going to bite us. And I think about the thousands of dollars that I received personally as a family. And it was great at the time. And we were flush with cash because I hadn't lost my job, and it truly was stimulus money. But for the thousands of dollars we received, the next several years, we were spending $1,000 per month. So sure, I may have made $10,000 or $15,000 in stimulus checks, but it's cost me probably $45,000 to $60,000 in inflation since then. So
the solution, we'd have to live backwards to fix the problem. We can't do that.
Yes,
obviously, but I don't remember anybody rejecting those stimulus checks.
You're right, which is a great point. Which is why the adults in the room can't offer us chocolate cake for breakfast. It's why Washington can't go out there and the president can't go out there and say, we're going to ease the burden on you and we're going to just give you money and we're going to make this program free, because we will all pay for it eventually. We'll pay for it through taxes, through debt, or through inflation. It's very simple. That is why I'm so frustrated with the leadership that was just handing out money hand over fist, because we will take it.
So you think your bitterness lies in the decisions by the Trump administration and the Biden administration to give out stimulus money?
And we don't talk enough about that, because so often Trump is, by every poll, far more trusted with the economy than Biden and Harris. Every poll you see, people trust Trump. But if you look back in the Trump years, he spent money. A lot of money, and it wasn't just during COVID. Obviously, when COVID hit, everybody was spending money. And then even when we were pulling out of COVID, the Biden administration spent even more money. But we don't get to $34 trillion in debt. Boyd Matheson has said this a million times. We don't get to $34 trillion in debt through conflict. We get to that point through collusion, by working cooperation. That's a nicer word. we've done it together, Republicans and Democrats. And at some point, we have to say, this is absolutely broken, unsustainable, and you've got to stop it today.
Yeah. I do think, though, Dave, that part of this goes to, it's our own personal responsibility and the way we spend money as well. The more we earn, we just talked about this the other day. You talked moments ago, you mentioned the people making $150,000 a year or more tend to feel more comfortable with how things are going. But you and I just had a conversation the other day about a new report that had come out that people who are earning $150,000 a year still say they're living paycheck to paycheck. We've talked about this in the past, a really good look in the mirror and then a fine-tooth comb through your finances. I think there's some personal responsibility that we need to address. So straight ahead, you and I are going to pick apart our own family budgets. We're going to take a long, hard look in the mirror, a 7-minute look in the mirror, because that's how long our segments are. And we're going to see where we can fix our own overspending.
Dave and Dujanovic.
A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to kslnewsradio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio.
You're going to have some good Halloween weather. Good-ish. It's going to be a little bit chilly, but there's not going to be a snowstorm. But if there were, I would want to curl up in front of a nice, beautiful fireplace. And we have a place for that.
That's right. Thankfully, Master Electrical Service has joined forces with Mountain Home Services, and they're now installing fireplaces, which is just perfect. It's the perfect time right now to think about putting a new gas fireplace in your home and for winter.
And you may not know which one you want or how big and how much heat it will produce and how much it's going to cost you. Mountain Home Services will hold your hand through the entire process. They'll help you choose just the right size for your room, and they are beautiful as well. So all you have to do is go to their website, mountainhomeutah.com, give them a call. They can walk you through exactly the things you need to be asking. And it comes with that upfront pricing guarantee that has been so popular.
Yeah, and that phone number, they do want to hear from you. 801-543-2222. Again, 801-543-2222.
What's much less frightening than...
We traced the call. It's coming from inside the house. It's coming from inside the house.
Why, KSL's election analysis, of course. This week, get full coverage of Your Voice, Your Vote 2024. And happy Halloween from KSL News Radio.
Step into the warmth of the holidays at Western Nut. We're here to make gift-giving special and stress-free. Grandpa's favorite peanut brittle, a gift basket with a variety of nuts and treats for your neighbor who brings in your garbage cans. How about your coworkers? Yep, we've got you covered. With our nut gift boxes, pre-wrapped in holiday paper, homemade caramels, baking nuts, popcorn brittle, dried fruit trays, and cashews galore. Local honey and jams, and our Nut of the Month subscription give a variety of nut gift boxes straight to their door. Our shop is a winter wonderland, and this year, join us to kick off our huge holiday preview sale and save on everything in store. 4th South and 3rd West, November 7th, 8th, and 9th. Stuck at the North Pole? Visit westernut.com or call our team, who will take your order and ship your gift with care. Western Nut has been a part of Utah family traditions for nearly 60 years. More than nuts. At Western Nut Company, we sell memories.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Utah State Fair Park. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Utah State Fair Park. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Utah State Fair Park. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Utah State Fair Park. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Utah State Fair Park. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Utah State Fair Park. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Utah State Fair Park. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Febreze. So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up, then spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day. Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la. Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Getting ready for more rain and longer nights? We've got you. Right now, you can earn up to $25 in bonus rewards when you buy 2 Sylvania Silver Star Ultra bulbs and 2 Rain-X Quantum Elite wiper blades. More rewards and better visibility at America's #1 lighting destination, AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Offer valid for AutoZone Rewards members. Restrictions apply.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, statistics say the economy is growing, unemployment is low, but many Utahns believe they are not better off economically. Second, Vice President Harris visits Arizona and Nevada today to get a boost in the West before the election. And third, you can book an overnight stay at an old hotel in Ogden that's supposed to be haunted. 45 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
As Dave and I were talking about this new poll that's been published by the Deseret News and the Hinckley Institute of Politics, 71% of Utahns who are surveyed say they feel like the economy is going the wrong way, in spite of indications that things are maybe they're not great, but they are getting better. Inflation today, 2%-ish, a little bit higher in some categories, but right around 2%. Our 401ks, if you're saving in your 401k, you probably noticed where the Dow's at. Things look pretty good. I think the one sticking, and it's huge, it's like a mousetrap of stickiness, is the housing market with housing prices. So I think that weighs us down. I've noticed that gas prices don't feel, they're not awesome. I would love for them to be $2 a gallon again, or $1 a gallon like in the 90s, which, by the way, back then that felt like a lot of money. But we decided right now it's a good time to stop blaming everybody else and pick apart our own family budgets.
Because that's all we can do. We can hope that our politicians learned a lesson, that we're going to cut spending. I don't have any faith in that because we haven't shown any indication that that's what we're going to do. So you're right. Let's focus on the here and now and what we can do to improve. And I think there are some really good ideas out there, Deb, and I would like to share a couple of my ideas.
Please do it.
Okay, so you came across this article that said we waste up to $2,000 a year of food. Mm-hmm. Now, this goes to my solution. I've told you many times, I shop every day or several times a week. And this is because when I lived in Spain, this was very much what Europeans did.
Right.
They didn't have these monstrous fridges. You would never see a 2-sided door with a freezer on the bottom and then a freezer in the garage. You would never, ever see that in Europe. They go shopping every single day. They get fresh bread. They get fresh fruit, all of those things. So I started doing that.
And why did you start to do that?
Because we were spending about $1,500 a month on food.
And you talked to us about this just a couple of days ago. You and Charlena had met with a financial advisor who said, track your money and your spending.
Yeah, so we downloaded an app. We had the one we did was Rocket Money. It was actually something else, but it's now essentially Rocket Money. And what you do is you upload all of your subscriptions. It takes maybe half a day to do. It takes several hours. This isn't very quick. But you'd upload your credit card balances, all of that stuff, and then it doesn't have access to your accounts, but it can do what's called scraping your accounts. So it just looks at how much you owe, how much you're spending, and then it categorizes it. And it says, this is what you're spending on fast food, this is what you're spending on entertainment, this is what you're spending on your groceries. And when it broke it down, that was the aha, eye-popping moment for us. Groceries, eating out. We were eating out way more than we had realized. And food was going bad in our fridge. Because we'd say, you know what, we're going to eat healthy, we're going to do it.
And my motto there is wasted food is wasted money.
Totally.
It's like you might as well just take that $5 you spent on that batch of lettuce and throw that $5 in the garbage, because that's what it is. So go ahead. I'm looking forward to the rest of what you have to say.
So when I started purchasing food every day, every other day, no more than every 3 days, is we would eat until that food was gone. And once the food was gone, I would go back to the store and finish. So there was virtually no waste. And nothing was hidden or stuffed in the back of the refrigerator.
What's that smell?
Yeah. It almost looks like a bachelor pad refrigerator where you're like, oh, you don't have anything in there. No, but we do. We just use it up and we eat it. So the food is fresh. It tastes better because it's not like, hey, is this strawberry still good-ish? Yeah, let's have some strawberries for dessert. It has saved us a huge amount of money because we're actually eating what we're spending.
So this article that I found said food waste eats up $2,000 a year of the family budget. However, it sounds to me as though you saved a lot more money by restructuring the chaotic shopping that you guys were doing and the lack of planning. And I can also talk to that in just a moment, like what we went through as a family and our aha moment and how we got our act together too. But how much did you end up saving by coming up with this new plan?
I now spend $125 a week.
What?
So
that's amazing, Dave.
That's about $500 a month.
Compared to about $1,500.
Yeah. And we are eating healthier. We're eating higher quality food. You know, we're not just buying bags of Oreos. It has helped us with our health. It's helped us with our finances. And then when we go out, it is a treat. You know, we're going out purposefully. Hey, let's go on a date night. Let's go out to a restaurant. Makes a lot more sense.
So you can't learn lessons unless you've lived through lots of different issues like this, and you and I both lived through a lot of these. And so it's not like that I've been perfect with finances. I just want to put that out there. These are hard lessons learned. You know, where you get too many credit cards. Mine were store cards. You know, every time you walk up to a register, you're offered some sort of great deal. If you just do, you know, if you open up a store credit card right now, we're going to give you 20% off, and then we're going to send you a batch of coupons for the holidays and all this other stuff. And I realized at some point I was letting the 22-year-old cashier, very helpful behind the counter, determine my financial future with this one-stop offer at the check stand in the moment. I'm like, this is not financial planning. This is financial chaos. So several years ago, I mean, I'm talking more decade and a half ago, I started to cancel systematically. I didn't cancel them all at once, these store credit cards, which got me out of that crazy cycle of how much is on this card and how much is on that card. And I would generally keep my balances pretty low, but it still doesn't matter. I mean, if it's $200 here and $400 there, before you know, you got $2,000, you know, in, you know, new pairs of pants and T-shirts. I mean, so that was enough. I now have one credit card that I use on a regular basis and one credit card that I use for travel. And I use the travel credit card because I feel like they have the best security kind of thing. So I use that as a travel credit card. I do not use that on a daily basis. The second thing that we did when the housing market collapsed and the economy collapsed across America is we sat down and we realized we cannot control what is going on across the nation. Like, we can complain about it. We can cry about it, which, by the way, I did. Or we can choose as a couple in charge of this family and our finances to do something about it. So we did the same thing, Dave, in terms of groceries. And we went to, and back then it was, you know, much less expensive for groceries. But I said, I'm doing this as my side hustle. Nobody else is grocery shopping with me. Nobody else is grocery planning with me because we were out of control with our grocery budget at $1,000 a month because nobody was in control. It was the last minute dash in, grab something from the pre-made section of the store or something that was way too expensive that if we'd actually pre-planned would have been a lot cheaper. So I went into meal planning mode. I said, Mama shops alone, which, by the way, there have been studies done on this. You shop with your kids, you shop with the whole family because it's family time at the grocery store. It's going to cost you $40 to $45 more on that shopping trip. You got too many hands in the cart.
Per week?
Per week. Yeah, one shopping trip, 40. So right away, that saved us a lot of money. And by the way, as well, I want to mention something to this, all of you who shop with all your kids and stuff. It's kind of glorious being at the grocery store alone. It was kind of like my me time, right? And meal planning. Meal planning on Sundays or whatever, whenever the ads were coming out around what was on sale for the week. And leaning into store brands, which saves, again, a significant amount of money, 25% on average. I recently did my own store brand survey over name brands and found that just 3 products alone, buying store brands, I mean, it was like peanut butter, pancake mix, and tortilla chips, saved me 40% over buying name brands. So that's how we started to get a hold of our out-of-control budget. And remember, this is in 2008 when the economy had essentially collapsed. We were afraid for a lot of reasons, and we decided to take control. And that is one step we took, and it made all of the difference. We got our grocery budget down to $100 a week, and we stayed there for years and years. But it was through meal planning based on what was on sale in the ads that week and buying our meats first, making sure we were eating healthy, but really coming up with a strategy to save ourselves a bunch of money we had been wasting for all those years.
And I really like how you described it as that was your side hustle.
Yeah.
Because a penny saved is a penny earned. We say it, it sounds trite, but you're absolutely right. You are saving hundreds and hundreds and thousands of dollars a year by doing that. I don't think a lot of people look at it as an investment in your savings and look at it as a side hustle, because it totally could be. It's as good as getting a job.
It's 10:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. The American Bar Association says every lawyer is an election lawyer right now, with a duty to help dispel misinformation about the election process. David Becker with the Center for Election Innovation and Research told the organization cases of non-citizens casting votes are rare.
And what Republican election officials have demonstrated just in the last couple of weeks is that they have the tools to find non-citizens if they're there, that the number of non-citizens actually voting is extremely small.
A review in Ohio found just 6 non-citizen votes cast there in the past decade. Well, are you brave enough to stay in a haunted hotel room? KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson tells us you can try it out right here in northern Utah.
The historic Bigelow Hotel in Ogden is now offering its most haunted room on Airbnb. All the other rooms in the Bigelow have been converted into apartments recently, except for 1102, which is known for paranormal activity. So if you're a fan of phantoms, you can spend the night with spirits at a pretty reasonable price.
And the event coordinator at the hotel, Cornell Thomas, says guests can also visit other areas that people say are haunted, including the ballroom. Your money at this moment. The Dow Jones average is down now, 272 points on the day, while the NASDAQ is down more than 2% right now, 439 points down. Our KSL weather looks like we've got clouds around and it's still pretty chilly. That's next. KSL News Time, 1032.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and there's a good chance you've heard me talking about our free furnace sale. The one where you buy a new air conditioner and we give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it, about $400. Well, we still have a few more spots on our schedule we need to fill, so I'm extending the sale, but I'm not quite sure for how much longer. Definitely no later than the end of October. And once I think our schedule's full enough, I got to pull these ads. So don't wait too long to call and schedule your free estimate. The main reason we do this sale is to give you an incentive to help us keep our guys busy when the weather's mild. And thanks to your help, we're able to keep our guys and keep growing. So if your furnace and air conditioner are ready to be replaced, you owe it to yourself to at least schedule a free estimate and get all the details about our free furnace sale. Just to recap, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Get up to a 30% upfront bonus to use for your retirement income, or up to 12% per year to help grow your retirement income. Whether you're in retirement or will be retiring within 10 years, Trajan Wealth can offer some of the highest guarantees in the business. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I know no one wants to work forever. We all need to retire someday, and I know you've worked hard for your money, so now is the time to guarantee it. Take advantage of up to a 30% upfront bonus for your retirement income, or up to 12% per year for retirement income. Don't woulda, shoulda, coulda. Get up to a 30% bonus just for opening an account, or up to 12% per year for retirement income. Don't leave your retirement to chance. Retire the right way, the Trajan way, with Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. DBA in most states says Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
If you need a new roof, there's a reason IWC Roofing is the #1 residential roofing contractor in Utah. IWC has been replacing roofs for 27 years. They are professionals. You don't get some janky subcontractor fiddling around up there. You get experienced IWC employees on your roof, and they finish most jobs in a single day. They're in, they're out, and they power wash your driveway just to say thank you. Now you're wondering about the price. After all, IWC is one of the few Owens Corning Platinum certified contractors in the entire state, but they offer value pricing, and right now, take advantage of their fall special. $2,000 off your quote. And of course, they'll work with you on financing, so call IWC Roofing, the highest rated roofing contractor in Utah, plus $2,000 off. Right now, call IWC Roofing, 801-232-5690. That's 801-232-5690, or go to IWCRoofingUtah.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, traffic is still just a bit below the speed limit southbound I-15 between 7200 South and 90th South in Sandy. This was due to earlier debris that stopped all traffic for about 15 minutes while they tried to clean that up. And as you continue southbound into Utah County, we had another bit of debris on the freeway near 5th East and American Fork. Traffic there also stopped for a few minutes. It's moving now, but again, you might just be slightly under the speed limit as traffic struggles to get back up to speed. And then you've got a pretty good drive anywhere else you want to go to right now. Enjoy Utah's beautiful snow with winter tubing fun for the family at Soldier Hollow Nordic Center in Midway. Their 1,200-foot sliding lanes mean longer rides and more time to slide. Book now at UtahOlympicLegacy.org. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cloudy and cool today, just a chance of rain, a high of 55. More clouds going into the weekend with showers expected on Sunday. 46 and cloudy right now. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
I was in New York City last summer, walking over to the Met. Remember that, Caitlin? And I remember thinking, Dave, there's just a ton of traffic everywhere. Everybody's packed in and lots of pedestrians. So I was surprised this morning when I woke up to this headline on KSL.com. Crossing against the light? No ticket now that jaywalking is legal in New York City.
I remember they would have these moments when the lights would all go red and they would have what they call a jailbreak. And everybody can cross. It doesn't matter. You go diagonally, go across, north and south, does not matter. Here's the jailbreak. And now their solution is, you know what, don't even worry about it. Totally cut somebody off. What's the worst that could happen?
So the new law that took effect says that pedestrians crossing outside of a crosswalk do not have the right-of-way, should yield to other traffic that does have the right-of-way. And if it comes to any sort of like lawsuits, civil lawsuits, people may also be held liable in those lawsuits for accidents caused by jaywalking. So there's some warnings to would-be jaywalkers that it is not just a free-for-all. You do have some responsibility. But the idea that pedestrians are just stepping off the crosswalk and darting across traffic, what do you think about that?
Okay, that changes everything. That little detail where you say they no longer have the right-of-way, they could be held responsible for causing any kind of a crash. Because my understanding, and let's bring on Sergeant Spencer Cannon with the Utah County Sheriff's Office, in Utah, doesn't the pedestrian basically have the right-of-way all the time?
Yes and no. And I appreciate you having me on. Utah code requires that if a pedestrian is crossing anywhere other than a crosswalk, that they yield to all traffic, and it states that directly in the code. Now, a violation is only an infraction, but the potential consequences, if somebody decides that they want to take ownership of the road and a car doesn't yield, they could end up seriously injured or worse. So, that is not the case here in Utah. It is outlined that even if you're crossing against traffic, jaywalking, essentially, that you must yield to traffic.
So, Sergeant, what do you think of this jaywalk being legalized, jaywalk at your own risk in New York City?
You know, I understand why they're doing it, and one of the things that people hit us with a lot of the times, and I've been a cop for 34 years, and I can probably count on one or two hands the number of times I've stopped somebody or written a ticket for that, but it's usually when it's egregious. And yes, in the terms of, capital homicide versus jaywalking, this is really down close to the bottom of the list in terms of seriousness. It's only an infraction, but it helps to maintain order. It helps protect drivers. It helps protect pedestrians. When a driver's coming along on Main Street and they know they have an intersection coming up, they may be paying closer attention to that and not expecting somebody to come out mid-block and come in front of them in traffic, and they then have to make a decision, do I yield or not? And drivers say they may want to take the right because they're the ones supposed to have the right of way there, but you don't. I mean, if you have the ability to stop, you can't just hit somebody because they're breaking the law.
I do wonder, we have so many laws, and we have to kind of pick and choose sometimes which ones we're going to enforce. We're not pulling people over at 56 miles per hour on the freeway. We do kind of pick and choose, but when it comes to jaywalking specifically, as you described, like you've probably only handed out a pair of them over 30 plus years. Should we have a law if we're not going to enforce it?
I think there is a place for laws, even laws that seem like nonsense kind of laws, according to some people's thoughts, and I've had people tell me that. But I think they're there for a reason, and that's to protect the public, the motoring public, and the walking public as well. And it doesn't really create that big of an inconvenience. For example, Utah State Code says if there's two adjacent intersections that are controlled by a traffic light, then you're required by law to use those. You can't go in between there legally and cross. Now, I don't think there's going to be any police that are going to be sitting there watching for jaywalkers necessarily, but they're there for a reason, and it doesn't take that much time to go no more than half a block to the crosswalk and cross legally. It just helps maintain order.
Sergeant Spencer Cannon, thank you for joining us, Utah County Sheriff's Office.
So maybe it's how I was raised, but I feel so guilty jaywalking. And I just feel like I'm really doing something wrong, not just a little bit wrong, but a lot wrong. I'm trying to figure out how I feel about this because there's so much now going on in traffic. and on sidewalks that we never had before. So I'm thinking about, like, what would it be like in Salt Lake City if they decided to do this? And they haven't. I want to make that clear. So this is just for instance. This is New York City we're talking about, that has now said you can jaywalk, but, jaywalk at your own risk. We're not going to ticket you for that anymore. I think about people on scooters zipping along. I think about cyclists now, and this is all, I'm not saying it's good or bad, it's just there's a lot to contend with now if you're driving, across the valley that we didn't have, 10, 15, 20 years ago as much. Pedestrians, you got the tracks, lines going everywhere. And then if you drive Mountain View Corridor like I do on a pretty regular basis, the first few times you drove it, you were shocked to see there's bicycle lanes on one of the busiest, I call it a highway. It's almost like a freeway out there on the west side of town. So you're sharing a really major highway with cyclists. And then you have the split lanes with the motorcycles coming up the middle. And by the way, y'all scare the daylights out of me. I mean, my heart just skips a beat when that happens. I'm torn. I don't know if I would be the jaywalker or if I feel comfortable with driving through a city that has, the no jaywalking policy or no tickets for jaywalkers policy.
I do like this. I like that it puts the responsibility on the jaywalker, saying, listen, you're not protected. If you cause an accident, you're going to be held liable for your illegal crossing. I guess it's not illegal anymore, but you're going to be held responsible, and not just because you're the one that's going to take the brunt of the damage and it could cost you your life. But I like the idea of saying, you want to take the risk, go ahead, but you're also going to take the responsibility if something happens.
Let's take live phone calls. 801-575-TALK. Should we stop ticketing jaywalkers? Should it be a jaywalking free-for-all? 801-575-TALK. Look forward to your live calls next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
My name is Brian King, and I'm running to be your governor because Utah is headed in the wrong direction, and we can do so much better. If you're frustrated by politics today, if you feel like politicians aren't listening to you, if you're looking for something different, for a leader who prioritizes common sense and bipartisanship, you have a place with us in this campaign. Join us and vote for Brian King for governor by November 5th. For the better.
Paid for by Brian for Utah.
Join KSL Saturday from 11 to 1 for savings of 20, 30, even 40% off, as well as get a free electric massage chair with every purchase while supplies last, with Hot Tub Factory Outlet in Farmington, 270 North Central Avenue.
Don't you deserve health care you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Utah, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. Hey diamond lovers, Shane Company knows fine jewelry. That means a lot when you're looking for a dream engagement ring, a beautiful keepsake, or the perfect gift. When it's this important, you want someone who knows exactly how to work with your budget, not against it. Someone who knows you deserve a piece more beautiful than you've ever imagined. Through 4 generations as a family business, we've always sourced our diamonds and gemstones directly, cut out the middleman, and passed the savings on to you. Come see us in store and compare our wide selection of diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in different shapes and sizes. So many in stock and ready to take home today. Create your dream engagement ring in 3 easy steps, or pick a perfectly preset ring that's created by our in-house design team. Browse our selection of fine jewelry gifts for everyone in your life, from diamond and gemstone studs to must-have tennis bracelets and beautiful birthstone necklaces. With our everyday competitive prices and unmatched free lifetime warranty, Shane Company is your go-to destination for fine jewelry. Visit shaneco.com and come in to see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Emergency traffic brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app, and the I-80 eastbound is shut down right now right at the 201 freeway interchange in Tooele County. Anybody trying to use I-80 coming out of Tooele will be diverted. You're going to want to use the 201 freeway, which I believe you can get onto. It's due to a rollover truck that rolled and then caught fire. We can see flames and black smoke arising, so that's why no traffic's getting through. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
An airliner takes off from the Pacific Northwest, carrying 101 passengers and crew. Most aboard Flight 293 are active-duty military and their families, headed to Cold War assignments in Alaska.
Surveillance of the Soviet military buildup.
But somewhere over the ocean, with no distress call, the airliner plunges into the icy water below.
Even if all 4 engines quit, that aircraft would fly.
There were no survivors and no bodies were ever recovered. For decades, loved ones were left to wonder
what happened to Flight 293 and why hasn't there been any follow-up.
The government turned its back. Passengers and crew of Flight 293 were forgotten by everyone, except their families.
Unless we pursue it, we will never be issued a true explanation.
Unsolved Histories: What Happened to Flight 293 is available now. Follow us at unsolvedhistoriespod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the American Bar Association calling on its member lawyers to debunk myths about the election with just 4 days to go. Second, you can book an overnight stay at an Airbnb in Ogden that was once part of an old hotel and that's supposed to be haunted. And third, flooding in Spain has killed at least 95 people. 46 degrees and cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Let me make it very clear. Jaywalking's not legal in Utah, but it is now in New York City. You can jaywalk at your own risk. Doesn't mean you won't be held liable if you cause a crash, but they won't ticket you for it in New York City. This just became a thing there, and now I want to go to New York City and test it out. Yeah, test it out.
Jaywalk away. I would love to hear from someone that's actually received a jaywalking ticket. Do you exist out there? 801-575-TALK. I would love to hear your jaywalking story because I've nearly plowed through a half dozen people before because they're just jaywalking dangerously.
Oh, they're running in the middle of the street, jaywalking?
Driving along, and then they just dart out, and then I've got to slam on the brakes.
It is scary.
And so, but I've never met anyone that's actually gotten a jaywalking ticket.
Yeah, so the headline that we caught on KSL.com is crossing against the light, no ticket now that jaywalking is legal in New York City. I don't know if everybody loves the idea. I would imagine if you're driving in the streets of New York, it would be tricky if somebody darted out in front of your car. Having been there recently, was like last summer. It is a very, very busy place. Cars jam-packed everywhere. Sidewalks busy with pedestrians. But this, to be clear, if you cause an accident while doing this, you could be held liable. And then also, you have to yield the right-of-way as a jaywalker to traffic, to actual, cars. So you still have to give up the right-of-way. But if you're outside of a crosswalk, that's when that applies. 801-575-TALK. Is this a good thing that tickets, at least in New York, for jaywalking have gone away? Because we do know, right? It doesn't get enforced that often. Right? I mean, it's not like cops are out there every single day running jaywalking patrols. So should we give up ticketing for jaywalking?
Let's go out to the phone lines. Audra in Draper. What do you think?
Hi. So
I guess our closest example would just be parking lots.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and the way that people behave in parking lots. The one nice thing about parking lots is that generally it's like private property. And so in an incident, it's easy for people to just say, well, you're going to have to just deal with it because it's private property. But my concern is that if all of the streets become parking lots, then insurance claims get a lot more complicated because now you have to like talk back and forth about who might have been, the cause of an accident.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, good point. Good point. I think about just being the driver in a parking lot and all the people pushing down their carts down the middle of the rows, right? Like blocking the lanes. But then, then I'm the pedestrian trying to use the crosswalk out in front of the store, and you can't get people to stop. Parking lots are wild. This is why I park way at the back. Everybody makes fun of me for that. Anybody who's, in my circle make fun of me for that. But I'm like, I don't want to be near the store. I don't want to be near pedestrians. I want to minimize any sort of like navigating other cars and obstacles and grocery carts.
Want to get my steps in?
801. That's exactly what it is. Michael, hi. Did you get a ticket for jaywalking?
Yeah, I sure did.
What?
No way. You exist? I didn't know anyone existed out there.
You got to tell us about this, Michael.
Well, it was actually in Hollywood, not around here.
Oh, okay. What happened?
And me and my date were having dinner, and I parked right across from the restaurant, which was halfway in the block. And I was across the street from the restaurant. So when we were done, we were walking across the street to my car, and a motorcycle cop gave me a ticket for jaywalking, did not give the girl I was with a ticket for jaywalking, saying that I forced her across the street.
How much?
You wrangled her.
So how did this go? Did you just pay the ticket in court, or what happened? Did you have to go back to the area to pay it?
I never paid it.
Oh,
so edgy.
So what,
sovereign citizen over here.
Is there a warrant for jaywalking out for you, Michael?
Yeah, there sure was, but it went away. They dismissed it like 10 years later.
Oh, what a
Michael, that's
pain.
outstanding. I can't believe you exist.
Were you shocked when that happened, Michael?
Absolutely shocked. Couldn't believe that they gave me a ticket.
I don't know how you talk your way out of that one.
I can't believe you didn't pay it.
That's amazing. Great story. Thanks for listening, Michael. Thanks for calling. Hi, Randy.
Hey, good. How are you guys?
Good to hear from you. Did you get a jaywalking ticket too?
I did.
Stop it. Did you get it from Sergeant Spencer Cannon? Because he's only handed out 2 in 34 years.
What's the scoop?
It could be. So, holiday season, crossing from Temple Square to the Meganackle to see the concert there. As you can imagine, massive amount of people. The officer was stopping people, and I just kind of ran to be part of the end of the crowd, and he didn't like that.
He nabbed you? When there's 80 billion people that were out there crossing?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's you. Yeah, they know you're going to be the one they catch. That's how I always feel. I'm like, don't do it, Dad, because you're the one they're going to catch. How much was the ticket?
Yeah.
Did you pay it?
No, I think like $55.
What?
Yeah.
What? Oh, so do you think jaywalking ticketing should go away?
You just can't have a free for all. Of course, we're not in New York. New York's a lot different, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. So did you change your behavior? Are you or do you still jaywalk?
It's a family joke, right?
Love it.
So
Love
definitely didn't change anyway.
Didn't change the behavior.
Thanks for sharing the story.
We
Randy.
only know your first name, Randy. You could admit to it. They're not coming after you.
Right.
Hi, Helen. You got a ticket jaywalking in Salt Lake City?
I sure did when I was 15 or 16 years old, and now I'm 69, and I never paid the bill.
And you've never forgotten.
We've got all these folks admitting to just stiffen everybody on the ticket. I can't believe it.
What happened? Helen, if you remember getting a jaywalking ticket, you probably remember the circumstances. Where were you jaywalking?
Just somewhere up like State and Main Street, and I come from a small town, so I was just up there having a good old time and jaywalked. And, here comes a police officer. told me I was jaywalking and handed me a ticket, and I said, fine, but like I said, I never paid it.
Well, you were a juvenile at 16, so
Yeah.
that's probably long since gone away. Well, thanks for sharing your story, Helen.
It's like 50 years ago.
I would have
think
cried.
that warrant's still out there.
I would have cried.
I'd lie low. Lie low, Helen.
Somebody on our text line 57500 saying they need to start ticketing people crossing against the light on Main Street between City Creek Mall. Yeah, someone's going to get hurt. That is a crowded area over there. I was over there a couple of weeks ago one evening to meet some friends for a quick dinner. And first of all, how far away do I have to park to find a parking spot? I was driving in circles and realized I should have just come over to Broadcast House and parked and walked over there. It would have been a lot faster. Lots of pedestrians, lots of traffic.
How hilarious is it when we ask for people to call in with their jaywalking tickets? One was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
The other one was in another state. Like, that's how infrequently these tickets are being handed out. Yeah. Thank you so much for calling in, folks. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, a new poll out shows that 70% of Americans say they're feeling anxious or frustrated about the 2024 presidential election. I think we're just spending too much time doom scrolling and checking the latest numbers. And guess what? We're going to keep talking about it straight ahead because Boyd Matheson is really going to come in here and help us cope with our election anxiety. Thankfully, Boyd's up next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Interstate 80 is closed right now near the Tooele-Salt Lake County line because of a rollover crash. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has that story.
Well, it looks like a semi-truck has rolled on I-80 eastbound right at the 201 freeway interchange in Tooele County. It caught fire, and apparently medical helicopters will be landing on the scene as well. Right now, eastbound I-80 is shut down into Salt Lake Valley. You can use the 201 freeway as your alternate into Salt Lake. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Thanks, Heather. We'll check back with you in just a moment. Ogden police are searching for a driver in a hit-and-run that killed one man at a car wash near 7th Street and Washington Boulevard last night. Police haven't identified the man yet. KSL TV spoke with Misty Kelso at the scene, who says the victim was her father, Sterling Kelso.
He was a strong man. I loved my dad.
And we were told that Kelso didn't work at the car wash. His daughter says he was always there cleaning, though, taking out the trash and checking the vacuums. Anybody with information about the case asked to call Weber County Dispatch. Our top national story this hour, the CDC says teens' mental health can be negatively affected by the amount of screen time they're getting. The report found that half of teenagers spend at least 4 hours a day online. 1 in 4 in that group felt anxious or depressed over the past 2 weeks. Other experts say getting exposed to the perfect lifestyles posted on social media can make a teen feel isolated. At least 95 people believed to be dead, more than 2,000 missing or trapped after flash flooding swept through southern and eastern Spain this week. More rain in the forecast. The Spanish military has been called out to help deal with the disaster. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down on the day right now, 250 points, while the NASDAQ is down 428. And our KSL weather. Looks like it's still a little bit chilly and cloudy. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:02.
News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
I finally decided a few months ago that enough was enough with the high electrical bills in the summer and the high heating bills in the winter, and it was time to replace our builder-grade windows of our 20-year-old home with the latest and greatest windows from Advanced Window Products. Ever since Jake and Nate showed me a demonstration of what a difference the right kind of window can have on my home's energy use, I couldn't get it off my mind. So my wife and I decided it was time, and man, am I glad we did. From the moment Ken showed up to give us a free in-home estimate, we've had such an outstanding experience through the entire process. Within an hour, we had financing set up, and then about 8 weeks later, the crew showed up and did what we thought was going to be a 2-day installation in a single day. Now our home is more comfortable. Our electrical bills have started to drop. We qualified for Energy Tracks credits to help pay for the windows. And we even took advantage of their expertise and replaced our sliding glass deck door with one that has a pet door built in. Look, I know you don't make a decision like this on a whim. You do your research. So do that. But make sure you call Advanced Window Products at 801-850-9100, and you can get a special deal of $3,000 off 10 windows or more if you mention Andy when you make the appointment. 801-850-9100 or go to advancedwindows.com.
Transform your old, outdated kitchen with Half Price Granite. For a limited time, Half Price Granite is offering special pricing starting at $25 per square foot installed. That's lower than most big box stores. These prices are some of the lowest around. Granite, quartz, marble, and quartzite, all starting at $25 per square foot installed. Call 801-486-1700 or visit halfpricegranite.com. Half Price Granite, affordable luxury.
Want to avoid getting sick this fall? Getting your immunizations is a classic approach. You can protect yourself against the flu, RSV, pneumonia, and COVID. Does that sound like music to your ears? Then talk to a doctor or healthcare provider. And visit uptodate.utah.gov to learn more.
We have emergency traffic now. That crash on Interstate 80 still shutting down the freeway. Here's KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly.
Well, this is in Tooele County. Eastbound I-80 completely closed just after the 201 freeway interchange, so you can use the 201 freeway to get into Salt Lake. You will not be able to go past the 201 freeway if you are trying to get to the airport. You'll continue on 201 through Magna, then get on Bangerter Highway up to the airport turnoff. This is all due to a rollover crash that the vehicle then caught fire. Sounds like medical helicopters may be landing on the scene as well. So right now, crews are trying to work on the cars that got stuck between the 201 and where the fire vehicle actually happened. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Traffic and weather brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. It'll be cloudy and cool today with just a chance of rain and a high of 55. More clouds going into the weekend with showers on Sunday. And right now, 46 degrees and cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, Dave and Dujanovic have inside sources.
So, I want to say this in all sincerity. You know, when you look at the numbers, Boyd Mathis is going to talk about this, that 70% of us are feeling anxious or frustrated about the 2024 presidential election and the campaign. Everything will sort of start to quiet down, we hope, after Tuesday, right, when we start getting results. But as I look at my co-host, Dave Noriega, who sits to my left, and I've literally been talking to him all morning long, Boyd, like everything's normal. Dave, say something so the camera takes a photo of you.
I'm not happy with anybody right now. We were supposed to dress up. We were supposed to dress up.
I know.
And of you.
I know.
And Tim and Amanda and Boyd Matheson.
I know, you're the only one.
I'm the only
for Halloween.
Yahoo.
Yeah, and it's hilarious because I've been talking to you for 2 hours as though all things are normal, and you do not have some orange hair. You look like
it's fire hair.
He's the heat miser.
You have looked like Elmo for the last 2.5 hours, and I'm just talking.
Looks totally normal.
The reason I'm saying all of that is not because I want our folks that are watching on the app or on YouTube to take a look at you, which is a lot of fun, but the distraction of Halloween. The distraction that is Dave, but the fun. And I didn't dress up today. And he texted me this morning. He's like, "Are you going to dress up?" I'm like, "Nope, I didn't have the energy," which actually I think goes to I feel worn down, and in large part, not completely, by the constant flow of election news, but which makes me wonder why I'm not leaning in more to Halloween as a distraction. So that could be one way we deal with our election anxiety, if we're experiencing that, is by not focusing on it so much, Boyd. But let's focus on it right now.
Yeah, we will focus on it. And other people were looking at the World Series, but I know that's a sore spot.
I watched
Debbie.
that too. Oh, the fifth inning. I could talk for 2 hours about the Yankees in the fifth inning. The wheels fell off and they kept falling off. I don't know how many errors there were, but you're right.
Many.
Couldn't happen to a nicer team.
Yeah. And if I didn't feel it would be weird for me to text you at 10 o'clock last night, Boyd, about the World Series.
We're always analyzing everything at 10 p.m. That's when all analysis really begins.
So what are your thoughts on all of this anxiety?
So I think there's a couple of things that I think are really interesting in all of this. So one, Debbie, you are not alone. The vast majority of the American public are exhausted and they're exasperated with this, and that's dangerous. Yeah. That actually worries me every bit as much as those who are out of control in their angry, frustrated rhetoric with the political season. Indifference and apathy are every bit as dangerous. And so we have to be a little bit careful that we don't get so frustrated with it that we step away, because there are some people in the political machinery world that want that to happen. They want you to disengage because it keeps them in power and it maintains the status quo. So we do have to resist that urge to just say, "I've had it, I'm done, I'm out," because that benefits those that are already in power or those that are trying to manipulate your emotions and wear you down. It is a political strategy. Just wear them out. So we do have to be careful about that. The other thing I think is important for us, I don't think we've really talked about enough, is that these big emotions that we're feeling are actually a good thing, because this is big. Now, I don't think it's the most important election of the lifetime. I don't think, we're having the Constitution hanging by a thread or anything in that realm. But these are big moments, and in big moments, we should feel something. I remember having a conversation with a colleague who was just saying, if I didn't care, I wish I didn't care so much about my job or about this project. And I was like, whoa.
Story of my life.
The moment you stop caring is the beginning of the end.
I think a lot of people are like that.
Yeah, and so I think we have to also say, you know what? It's good to feel that emotion. Because, as I said before, the worst thing that can happen is we become apathetic, or even worse, we become indifferent. So then it becomes a matter of how do we lean into it? How do we maintain the proper perspective? And as you know, I've been talking for the last 3 election cycles that I firmly, passionately believe the most important day is not the first Tuesday of November. It's the first Wednesday of November. Because the first Wednesday, and I'm going to say this a million times until Wednesday of next week, on the first Wednesday of November, people all across this state and all across this country are going to get up in the morning. They're going to go to work. They're going to take care of their family. They're going to help a neighbor in need. They're going to go coach Little League. They're going to make a difference, and the constitutional republic is going to roll on. It's the way it was designed. And we are a country of Wednesday morning moments. We've had some brutal Tuesdays in our nation's history, but Wednesday morning always comes, and we should never forget that as a nation.
Even though I feel like the lone wolf here, the only person
with your hair
celebrating.
On fire. With your hair on fire.
It's so appropriate, right? I'm anger from the Inside Out movies, and that is just how it is right now. There's so much anger out there. But I think the great reminder here, Boyd, is especially like with Halloween, we're going to go out, we're we're going to take our kids or we're going to hand out candy, and we are not for 1 second thinking about whether or not these guys are Republicans or Democrats or how they vote and what they support. We are just a community, and we don't have nearly enough of those moments anymore because we like to squirrel ourselves away into our tree trunk with our hoarded acorns, and we don't branch out as much.
Yeah. In fact, I'll tell you from last night. So we had a little community trunk or treat gathered together.
Fun.
And we had people from all over the neighborhood. And I had someone come up who was filled with anxiety and worry and frustration and what's going to happen, and kind of laid out this whole big, heavy thing in the midst of everyone. Kids are playing games and eating pizza and sodas going everywhere. And I said, just stop and just look around.
Yeah.
Just look around at this community. I said, we're going to be just fine. Yeah. Because there are communities just like this all over this state and all across this country. We're a trunk or treat, a neighborhood gathering, that's what's carried this nation from the beginning. And as long as we don't forget that or allow the politicians to manipulate us to believing that, we're going to be just fine.
There are a couple of action steps. I know we're almost out of time, Boyd, but that I think are important to talk about. These are just things that I do. Is I will plug my phone in another room and walk away. I know this is going to be a concept that a lot of people won't lean into, but I've been leaving it more and more in my glove compartment when I go to do things, when I'm running errands, leaving it there so I'm not tempted to be in the middle of the store, get a news alert, and check it out right away. So limiting how much news content I consume has helped, even though I'm in the business and have always been flooded with information. So that helps. And I think the focus on what you can control is also been really helpful to me because I will tend to go really big on, what about all of these things?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, what can I do in my own life and in my own community to either help make people feel better or whatever it is?
Yeah.
That's where I think where I can do my best.
Yeah, being intentional is so important. I'm so glad you raised that.
It's hard to do that, though.
It's really tough because if you've got your phone, you're always at
Every
the mercy
alert,
of that.
I just want to click on it because I want the latest information on everything to make sure I don't miss anything for the show. But on the other hand, I'm like, how much?
And especially if you've already cast your vote, if you put that vote in the mailbox or you put it in the drop box,
that's huge.
You're done. You don't have to respond to anything because
all the rhetoric doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and so being intentional that way, I think, is really important. I think the other thing, if anyone wants to de-stress from the politics today, just go do something for somebody. Just an act of kindness will make all the difference in your day, and you'll also realize that that's the solution to what ails the nation. It always has been. And so, to me, the real takeaway is if we want elections to be less consequential to our lives, then we need to have government less consequential in our lives. And the way we do that is by living our lives and helping our neighbor and working at our jobs and doing all of those things that we know how to do as Americans and that we especially know how to do as Utahns. And so we can make these less consequential to our lives as long as we make government less consequential in our lives, if they're not in all the nooks and crannies of it all. And then we can get that proper perspective. We can be engaged, not indifferent, not apathetic. We have to lean in selectively, intentionally. But then again, it always comes back down. Community and culture lead. The politicians will follow. Trust me.
Boyd, thank you so much. Look forward to Inside Sources today that starts at 1.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Let me tell you, it is Halloween, and there's a lot of candy out there. So it does sound a little weird that I'm talking about Salt Lake City fat loss. Listen, you don't have to cut out candy for the rest of your life on Salt Lake City fat loss. With this program, it's a couple of months, really intensive, weight loss, and then you go back to eating smart. And you can have a cheat day. You can cheat a little bit, have some candy bars. It's just, no longer is that your steady diet. You don't get to eat the entire box of Oreos. You get to have a few Oreos. with Salt Lake City fat loss, I lost 57 pounds in 60 days. So, quite frankly, I was really proud of myself. I was shocked that I was able to do it, but it was not easy, but it was easier than I thought it would be. Go ahead and reach out to Salt Lake City Fat Loss. Their website, slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
With so much going on,
the E. coli outbreak,
Hundreds of thousands of ballots.
2 stories about the Utah County Clerk.
BYU 8-0.
It may have slipped your mind. This Sunday, set your clock back an hour. You know, if your clock doesn't do that for you. A friendly reminder to keep you on time. From KSL News Radio.
Emergency traffic brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Eastbound I-80 most likely will be shut down in Tooele County for several hours. You can use the 201 freeway to get into the Salt Lake Valley, but that's your only choice right now. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. I actually went home and counted how many connected devices I own. More than a dozen, all to keep me connected to the good stuff, my streaming, my gaming, all my interneting, you name it. Xfinity knows the number of devices we have connected to the internet is growing by the year. That's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices. Hundreds! For real. Now through December 31st, get Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 12 months with Peacock Premium, a $7.99 monthly value included at no extra cost when you add unlimited mobile, or lock in your internet price for 2 years for just $5 more a month with a 1-year contract. Early termination fee applies. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it and then some. Call, click, or visit a store today. Xfinity. Bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account, taxes, and fees extra. Gig Wi-Fi requires Xfinity Gateway. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular internet rates apply. Currently $96 a month. Actual speeds vary.
You do countless things without a second thought to protect your family and home. Every time you're in the car, you buckle your seatbelt. Before the next load of laundry, you remove the dryer lint. When you head out, you always lock your doors. And one simple task, done far less often, can protect your family and home this winter. Schedule a furnace inspection by a certified heating contractor to check for safety and efficiency. A friendly reminder from Enbridge Gas.
Strange events.
At night, when I'm on my bed, they come to me.
In a small town.
As far as any place in the state of Utah goes, I think Eureka is probably one of the wildest.
Echoes from the past.
From the souls of long dead miners.
KSL's Andrew Adams takes you along.
Are you trying to count how many spirits are in here?
For a chilling look inside Haunted Eureka. Tonight on KSL 5 News at 10.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, what are you waiting for? Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Utah State Fair Park. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Utah State Fair Park. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Utah State Fair Park. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates this weekend only. Utah State Fair Park. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Utah State Fair Park. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Utah State Fair Park. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Utah State Fair Park. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, eastbound Interstate 80 is closed right now because of a fiery rollover crash. Second, Ogden police searching for a suspect in a fatal hit-and-run collision. And third, the military's been called up in Spain to help deal with a flooding disaster that's killed at least 95 people. 46 degrees and cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
As you probably know by now, because I've talked about it from time to time, along with our producer, Caitlin Johnston, we are hosting a rather new dating podcast. I mean, it's been out there since June, called Dating at Her Age, and I feel one of our most important episodes dropped this morning. and we've entitled it Stalked. Dating is exciting, it can be as you start to meet new people, but the fact that we are on dating apps and meeting perfect strangers online more and more, and this is how we date these days, we felt it was important to address stalking, harassment, and the red flags. And so, Dave, we just dropped this new episode with the help of the Salt Lake City Police Department and 2 members of the department who work domestic violence cases and stalking cases. And we wanted to just talk a little bit more about it with you.
It's such a great reminder because whenever I hear your topic selection, it makes me understand and realize how little I understand about what dating is like from the female perspective. Because I've never once been stalked. I've never once been harassed. I've never thought about it. I've never thought about precautions. But I do have a daughter and I have a wife. And even though, it's been a long time, I don't think about this stuff.
And Caitlin, when we were talking to Sergeant Liz Johnson and also Wendy Isom, and Sergeant Johnson is with the Domestic Violence Squad, and Wendy Isom is the Director of Victim Services with the Salt Lake City Police Department, we found out it's women who are stalked, and it is also men who get stalked.
Yeah, and one thing that Sergeant Liz Johnson pointed out is she does think that she does see it, and she thinks that it is actually underreported and there's more that happens. But we have a soundbite if you want to play this.
Yeah. This is Wendy Isom, who's she's a victims advocate with the Salt Lake City Police Department, which they help victims of domestic violence and of stalking and navigate the criminal justice system. And Wendy told us something that I hadn't heard before, Dave, the difference between women who stalk men and men who stalk women. So listen.
I see a little bit of a difference in why stalking happens in different situations. So sometimes females are stalked more from an offender trying to gain power and control over that individual, where some of my male clients, it's more an obsessive love interest and less about controlling that person and more about notice me, date me. I want to chase away the other girls that might be interested. Really, there's any vulnerability. I have clients in the LGBT community who might not be out. And so an offender might be able to stalk that individual a little more easily with a threat to out them. It's often just the stalker taking a look at vulnerabilities, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and what is their motivation for stalking.
What is their motivation for stalking? That's a great way to think of it. And I guess we dismiss the men side of things, of men being stalked. But as she was describing that, kind of this obsessive, notice me, date me, chase me, maybe sabotaging other relationships because you're so obsessed, I could see how that would be, how it would affect men as well.
Caitlin, the other thing that we really learned a lot about is how much our social media can give up about us, even though we try to be maybe a little more vague, and that somebody is over the edge in terms of their interest in somebody else, will use social media to figure out like where we're located, when our birthday is. Maybe they send us unwanted flowers and that kind of thing. So you said you were going to go home after we recorded that episode and start looking through your social media. What did you find?
Well, I've already kind of started the process of trying to clean it up. But one thing she said, you mentioned your birthday. My birthday's out to the world on my Facebook account because it's just normal. And I never really thought in the past, I was like, I don't know why that matters. People can tell me happy birthday, but there's a lot that people can find out about you if they have your full name and your birth date, including your birth year. So I took that off. I took off any locations. Like my hometown was on there because I don't live there, but I was like, I'm just going to play it safe and not have that on there. I don't have my current town. And just another thing is being more cautious about what you post, because you can take a picture and your house with your address can be on it, and you just don't think twice about that. You don't think twice about it.
It's a selfie in front of your house and your address is right
But
there.
people can use that to piece things together, and it's scary. So I'm being more cautious about not doing that. I don't feel like I post my home ever, really, but like tagging your location on a story. I've done that in the past. I don't want to do that anymore.
When you're talking about dating, and this is something I really hadn't thought about, is so often I would go and pick a girl up at her house. And at what point, because I've heard you guys talk about this often, it's like, hey, we'll meet you somewhere so that I have the freedom to get up and leave, and I'm not beholden to somebody dropping me off. At what point do you start opening up? Is it on a second date or?
Well, I think that's even too soon. And I have allowed that to happen, and I regret it. And I think it's case by case. I'm in a mode now where I will just continue to meet somebody at a public location until I feel extremely comfortable that I have a lot more information on who they are and how they act. And how about you, Caitlin? What do you think?
I agree with that. It is unfortunate because I wish that it was like that, because I'm from a small town where we just knew each other, picked each other up, whatever. But we're dating strangers now, so you really have to take those precautions. I don't think I would feel comfortable second date, even third. It's just going to take some time. But something they both said is trusting your gut instinct. And if you get any sort of suspicions or gut instinct that something might be off early on, to really trust that. And so I think a lot of it is following your own intuition.
Yeah, they mentioned this, Dave, which I thought was a great thing to remember when you're dating. An offender or a person does not show you their worst traits on your first dates.
Yeah.
They're going to show you, that they're this great person. And so, but if you feel like they have this little jealous streak going, if right away there's just some things that are off, it's only going to get worse from their experience. And so peel away from that. In other words, in my world, run and keep running. But there are so many great tips and information in this podcast. It's called Dating at Her Age, and this episode is called Stalked, and it dropped this morning. It is more than an hour where we sit down and talk to two people who have worked domestic violence cases and also stalking cases and like electronic harassment, where you continue to get those unwanted text messages from somebody, even though you've cut it off or you feel like they're messaging you way too much on Facebook or leaving weird comments on your social media. And it's just a ton of information. I was actually listening to the episode that we published this morning, Caitlin, on the drive-in. I obviously was there for the recording, and there I listened to the raw, but you've edited it now and dropped it on our Dating at Her Age on our favorite podcast platform. Lots of information. So, and honestly, Caitlin, you did a lot of work on that. Great work. Really great.
And you can read about it. There's an article on kslnewsradio.com that they've put up for us. So there's a ton of information. But I took a lot away from this conversation. I think it's really important.
Keeping ourselves safe while dating.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. Interstate 80 closed right now near the Tooele-Salt Lake County line because of a fiery rollover crash. This happened in the eastbound lanes. Utah Highway Patrol reports one person was killed when a tractor-trailer rig rolled off the freeway and caught fire. The truck was hauling two trailers, both loaded with sand. The Highway Patrol says it could take several hours yet for that accident to be cleared up and the freeway reopened. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Commerce Department is reporting that consumer prices rose just 2.1% in September from a year earlier, and that's barely above the Federal Reserve's 2% inflation target, in line with readings from 2018. Jared Bernstein is the chair of the President's Council of Economic Advisors.
We've seen historical rates of growth in GDP. We've seen low unemployment and rising real pay. Disposable income is, in fact, beating prices, and that's nice to see.
And the government reported earlier this week that the economy was growing at about 2.8% in the third quarter of the year. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average is down on the day now 203 points, while the NASDAQ is down 450 right now. And our KSL weather looks like we'll see cooler temperatures and a lot of clouds. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the nines, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Let me tell you folks a little bit about Macy's Harvest of Hope. This might surprise you, but about 1 in 11 Utahns struggle with food insecurity. That's about 315,000 people. That is shocking to me. I was really surprised to see that. So there are a lot of folks, kids in your neighborhood that are struggling to figure out where they're going to get their next meal. So Macy's Harvest of Hope is gathering money. They have a goal of raising $200,000 during this Harvest of Hope food drive to help children in Utah that are struggling with this food insecurity. And there's a lot of different ways that you can donate. You can go into a Macy's. You can, just make a cash donation. You can buy food. You can buy a bag online that represents the food that they're going to need the most. These food banks, peanut butter, mac and cheese, chili, canned fruits, all of that good stuff. Or you can go to Macys.com/online to make that donation. That's a very easy way to do it as well. So go ahead and if you want and participate in Macy's Harvest of Hope, go to Macys.com/online.
Have you ever heard of the 5 Ps? That's right, the 5 Ps. These can be applied to most every area of your life, but it's especially true for you and your money. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and many years ago when I was a young man in the Marine Corps, I learned about the 5 Ps. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Now, you can't control what's happening with the stock market, but you can control how you plan for it. Trajan Wealth and our fiduciary advisors have been helping our clients with the 5 Ps for years. We have hearts of teachers and will never complicate by using financial jargon. Our fee structure is transparent. The more you make, the more we make. The majority of our clients come from other financial advisors. Isn't it time for a second opinion to allow Trajan Wealth to help you with the 5 Ps too? Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600 or visit TrajanWealth.com.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Okay, it's confession time. Conference weekend cinnamon rolls and my birthday week got me out of some of the good habits I created with my friends at Soda Weight Loss, and I gained back a few of the 70 pounds I let go of earlier this year. But this is where Soda's true value really kicks in. It was just a quick call to my nutritionist, Kristen. We've got a plan back in place. I'll have this off within a couple of weeks and be right back to where I wanted to be again. Because with Soda, there's no drugs, no pills, no injections. And when you stop taking those quick solutions medications, most people discover the weight just comes right back. Soda has real science, real results, and a proven method to melt that visceral fat and to keep it off for good. It's simple. Just go to SOTAweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. And while you're there, click the button, request a nutritionist callback, and within minutes, you'll be on the phone with somebody who's ready to help you change your life for the better. Because Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
And we have emergency traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Ricky Meese.
This closure is going to be in place for quite some time eastbound I-80 due to a rolled tractor trailer and vehicle fire. Now, for those who are on eastbound I-80, this is near the SR 201 junction. If you're traveling that way, you need to use the 201 as an alternate route. If you're all eastbound lanes are closed, westbound lanes has a left lane closed. If you're on the eastbound side of things, these delays are solid with traffic creeping along, and they stretch back to Lake Point. Even northbound traffic on SR 36 to join I-80 is backed up. If you can delay your travel time or take an alternate route, you want to consider doing that. Westbound delays not as bad, but still big backups both directions on I-80, where we have this closure in place on the eastbound side at the 201 junction. Again, not expected to be cleared until about 3:30 this afternoon. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
And our weather will be cloudy and cool today. Just a chance of rain, high 55. More clouds going into the weekend with showers expected on Sunday. Right now, 49 degrees, mostly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com for Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Let's talk Halloween. Halloween candy. Do we have some Halloween music? We got spooky, scary music. Yeah. That's as spooky and as scary as we're going to get. Caitlin gets in my ear. She's like, we've given you options. Okay, let's go here. Love this song.
This is the classic.
Good rock
The Monster Mash.
Okay, let's talk about favorite kinds of Halloween candy in Utah, and why your kiddos might be seeing a little less chocolate on the, I was going to say on the campaign trail, on the candy trail tonight.
That's one and the same. Lots of free give outs.
What are you giving away?
That's a great question. I have no idea what we're giving away. Whatever my wife purchased. I've never purchased a bag of candy. That falls squarely in my wife's department.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. What would you like to give away?
Chocolate. In fact, there's a couple things that I've learned over the years. Number one, all I care about is the chocolate stuff. But the kids don't like the chocolate stuff nearly as much as they like the sour stuff.
The nerds.
They love the gummies and the sour stuff, the Skittles. They would far prefer the fruity things than the chocolate stuff. If you're buying chocolate, it's for you. It's because that's what you like. It's not what the kids like.
Well, candy companies sideline pricey Halloween chocolates for gummies, licorice, and flavored creams. So whatever, I guess you got that stuff inside the chocolate or whatever. Or just like the little hard candies that taste like, I don't know. What do
like
they
the
taste
grandma
like?
candies?
I guess. This came out just a couple of weeks ago at the beginning of October as we were gearing up. That said, in fact, you might even find less chocolate on the shelves to buy.
So why less chocolate?
Because there's just been a little bit of a chocolate shortage, I guess. And
in
also,
the
it's a little more
production industry.
Yeah, there you go. Or it's a little more expensive, right? It's a little more expensive to buy it. That's what I look at. I always look at the price tag. Like, that's a lot of money for all that Halloween candy.
I do remember this. I remember seeing the story. This is back in like the Ivory Coast areas of Africa. They've had a lot of rain and really high humidity, or they've had they either had a drought and they didn't have enough rain. One or the other, they had the extremes that hurt their cocoa production.
So let's take a look at what the most popular Halloween candies are across America. Should I start with Utah, Dave?
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Okay, can I get a little bit of a hint? Is it chocolate or is it gummy?
It's got a little chocolate on it.
A little? I would have guessed Reese's. Peanut butter cups.
No, wrong. That's not Utah's favorite chocolate. Peanut M&Ms.
Okay.
So it's just, am I right when I say a little bit of chocolate?
Yeah.
A lot of peanut?
Yeah, a lot of peanut. It's not even the best M&M.
In New Mexico, it's Tootsie Pops.
That's hilarious.
I remember when I trick-or-treated as a child. I haven't quizzed my kids on what was the most disappointing candy. That was Tootsie Pops for me.
Tootsie Pops.
Yeah.
I like a Tootsie Pop. I like a lollipop in general. The most disappointing, without a doubt, no question, slam dunk, the Now and Later.
What is that?
It's like a taffy if it were to break your teeth. It's teeth-breaking taffy.
Did our boss have some of those recently in his office during a meeting?
Yeah.
I remember that thinking.
Now and Later.
I don't know how I'm going to choke this down, and I'm in a meeting. Why did I do this? Why did I open this and put this in my mouth? That was impossible.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. It's a jawbreaker, except it's not fun.
Most of the Northwest is leaning into peanut M&Ms. California, it's red vines. I got to tell you,
red vines.
I love red vines.
Yeah, I like licorice.
Do you like those little Twizzler packs they give out?
I love Twizzlers as long as it's cherry flavor.
I prefer red vines over Twizzlers.
You know what?
I give you the side eye.
That's an unpopular opinion, Debbie.
Really?
I think you're right, though. I think we collectively have an unpopular opinion. I think most people would take Twizzlers over red vines.
when it comes to trick-or-treating itself and the best Halloween haunts, what am I reading? This is from CBS News. We made the big time, folks. Lehigh, Utah comes on as number 1 for the best Halloween haunts. Good. You have the best Halloween haunts because I don't want the best Halloween haunts in Daybreak. I don't want that title out there. So I'll never
like
get
we're the
home
scariest?
tonight. Yeah, the best haunts in
like
Lehigh.
ghosts? Did we just shift over from candy to
We did.
to scary?
Just a little bit.
Okay.
But that's just temporary. It says best Halloween haunts. Top zip codes for trick-or-treating. Lehigh is number 1, followed by Dallas, Houston, Saratoga Springs made the top 5. That's cool.
I will never forget the family in our neighborhood that gave out full-size candy bars.
I love them.
They were, I mean, I'm not saying express ticket to heaven, like do not pass go. They are the greatest human beings that have ever lived, giving out full-sized, get this, king-sized candy bars.
Several years ago, I went to Costco, did not live in South Jordan at the time, so I felt safe doing this because I knew we would get a handful of trick-or-treaters. I went to Costco and bought a box, feeling very generous, of full-size candy bars to give out on Halloween. I don't remember how many came in the box, but I might have even bought 2 boxes just to stay on the safe side. Do you know how many trick-or-treaters I had that year?
How many?
2.
That's terrible.
I could have started my own like candy production company after I had so many full-size candy bars. You know, I could have started packing them in machines and made money on them.
Give me your top 3 candies.
Okay. I really do love red vines.
Okay.
I on occasion will go for the peanut butter cup, Reese's. Has to be Reese's. What's a third? I have to think on that for a second. Go ahead.
The correct answer would be, in this order, Reese's peanut butter cups, peanut butter M&Ms, and Twix.
Okay, I just came up with my third. And it's hard because I love Snickers. I grew up on, that's what I ate every single day in high school was a Snickers bar and a Coca-Cola. Like, that's horrible. And we complain about what our kids are eating today. 3 Musketeers.
3 Musketeers?
3 Musketeers. Who doesn't love 3 Musketeers?
Just the nougat? No caramel?
No, I eat the whole thing.
It has a little chocolate and then the weird white nougat?
I eat the whole thing.
That is maybe the worst candy bar that's ever been
No,
created.
I just found one the other day. The boss handed one out. I'm trying not to eat chocolate, but of course, I consumed it. I scarfed it down. That's my favorite.
That's how you want to play it, old man? No dessert? Oh, sure. We'll eat our dinner right after you eat this.
That's for you. Straight ahead, let's take live phone calls. What kind of candy are you handing out tonight? 801-575-TALK. We want specifics. Is it peanut M&Ms? Is it 3 Musketeers? Because if it's 3 Musketeers, I'll be at your doorstep.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
We've told you about Master Electrical Services joining forces now with Mountain Home Services, and that creates a little one-stop shopping when it comes to your home needs. Electrical needs, HVAC, plumbing, all of that falls under the umbrella of Mountain Home Services.
That's right. And what's equally awesome to all of that is you can now get a gas fireplace installed through them, and they will help you through the entire process. And you know, you've been talking about this for years, so why not just look them up, give them a call. In fact, we're going to give you the contact information here.
Yeah, 801-543-2222 is the number, 801-543-2222. Or you can check them out online at mountainhomeutah.com. But before we let you go, they install it. Because they are the experts, because they do electrical and they do HVAC and plumbing, they can handle all the aspects of it, and they don't send it off to some third party. They take care of it in-house. So go ahead and give them a call, 801-543-2222.
It's official. KSL Sports is your official radio home of the Utah Hockey Club. When the puck hits the ice this fall, you'll hear every goal, every check, and every tension-filled moment on the KSL Sports Zone. Plus, let your voice be heard on the Utah Hockey Club Fan Forum on KSLSports.com, your exclusive home of the NHL and the Utah Hockey Club in Utah is KSL Sports and 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Emergency traffic on KSL News Radio, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Again, we want to remind drivers in Tooele County we do have eastbound I-80 fully closed to traffic due to a nasty accident not far from Salt Air. The crash happened between the 201 and 202 junction. Right now, traffic will be diverted off eastbound I-80 at SR 201. You need to use that as an alternate. You will see big backups to Lake Point on the eastbound side of I-80. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hello, this is Congresswoman Celeste Malloy. I'm running for re-election to represent you and keep Utah's conservative values in Washington, D.C. Like you, I'm tired of a government that spends too much, listens too little, and makes all of our lives harder. In Washington, I'm pushing back against bad ideas and liberal policies. Let me keep representing you so I can keep fighting for you, because we are just getting started.
I'm Celeste Malloy, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Celeste for Congress.
Febreze. So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day. Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Since their founding in 1972, LSI has been a trusted resource to Fortune 500 companies, federal agencies, and state and municipal entities in the areas of business development, economic development, and social impact. Engagement Lead of Economic Development and Social Impact, Tanisa Wright, joins us with more.
LSI is a comprehensive services provider that drives business growth and opportunity while fostering community-based economic prosperity. We specialize in managing operations, supply chain management, and logistics performance to ensure our clients achieve exceptional results. At LSI, we believe in the power of strong relationships and leadership to propel industries forward. Our commitment to excellence has made us a trusted partner in economic development and business innovation. Whether it's optimizing supply chains, enhancing operational efficiency, or supporting community growth, our clients win with LSI. We are dedicated to creating value and delivering impactful results that support sustainable growth and success. Discover how LSI can help you achieve your goals and drive your business to new heights. Learn more at lsiwins.com.
With more than 50 years of business development and strategic experience, LSI has valuable insight into the dynamics that shape business and economic growth. To learn how they can drive your business forward, visit the LSI website. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, eastbound Interstate 80 is closed right now because of a fiery rollover crash. Second, Ogden police searching for a suspect in a fatal hit-and-run collision. And third, the military has been called up in Spain to help deal with a flooding disaster that's killed at least 95 people. 46 degrees and cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
What kind of Halloween candy are you giving out? There's a survey out that says in Utah, we tend to give away peanut M&Ms. I have yet to go to the grocery store and purchase any candy to give away tonight. So I'd love to hear what you all are giving out. 801-575-TALK. 801-575-TALK. Give us a ring.
We got a text. I'm just cracking up over
What does
this.
it say?
A little bit to your experience of over-preparing the amount of candy you had.
Yeah, I did.
So this texter said, my folks usually get 600 to 700 kids.
What?
Like, that's monstrous. That's a huge. They get 600 to 700 kids. So her first year, or his first year, said, I prepared for 100 kids. I got 6.
Right.
And prepare for 100. I got 6. I gave one kid an entire sealed box of Rice Krispie treats. It's like running into Mr. Beast.
I guess the kid's the luckiest kid on the.
Oh, man. An entire box.
Yeah. 801-575-TALK. Give us a ring. Sun chips for Halloween.
I like that. I like the salty hook to it.
As
That's
a mom,
great
I would
idea.
love that because I would love to be able to put those bags of Sun chips and a little candy bar in their lunch the next day.
I think we may have just hit on something.
Yeah, you don't all have to give away candy. You know, if you
like
give
little
away
mini Pringles.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I would murder those.
This person said, I love Three Musketeers.
That's crazy.
It's my favorite.
There's 2 of you in this entire state. In fact, we just got a text that says 3 Musketeers taste like regret, Debbie.
What? What? Look, it was between Snickers bars,
Milky
but
Way,
I kind of
all better.
outdid the Snicker bar scene when I was in high school. I literally had a full-size Snickers bar and a Coca-Cola every day for school lunch. That's what I ate. And look at how well I turned out. Y'all are worried. A pack of frosted animal cookies.
Okay, I love a frosted animal
What's
cookie.
wrong with you? How old are you?
I love
And
them.
What are you dressed as?
I am Anger from Inside Out 2.
That's how you want to play it, old man? No dessert? Oh, sure. We'll eat our dinner right after you eat this.
Is that you?
That's totally me. That's Lewis Black, by the way. Very distinctive voice. But yeah, that's my whole family. We were the emotions from the Inside Out shows.
You're doing that?
My
Everybody?
wife was sadness.
Really?
My daughter was fear.
Fun.
Someone was anxiety.
Where'd you get that hair? It's like it looks
This
like
is
it's
my
on
hair.
fire.
This is what it is. I grew it out, colored it.
Top candy from Alex is Reese's. Worst is Whoppers.
Whoppers are terrible.
I'm totally in the What about are those Whoppers? Are those the little things that come in like the
Malted milk balls.
I know what they are, but the tiny little boxes.
No, those are Milk Duds.
How do you know all this?
Whoppers come in like a carton, like a milk carton.
What?
You seen those?
I don't remember
you
that.
remember the old? You don't remember the milk carton Whoppers?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about. Fruit flavored Tootsie Rolls is this? This is what they're giving out.
Okay, I made fun of fruit flavored Tootsie Rolls because I thought they were just terrible. I don't like the way they're packaged. They're actually kind of starbursty, and they're pretty good. They're way better than actual
Is
Tootsie
this new?
Rolls. No, they've been around forever.
I just have never been a big fan of
Candy, sugar, anything that doesn't taste like cottage cheese and avocado. The things you eat, Debbie. You could make fun of all the stuff that we eat, the garbage candy out there. You're like, you know what I could really go for? Some avocado, cottage cheese, but you got to sprinkle it with some everything bagel seasoning.
Stop standing over my desk while I'm trying to eat lunch after the show.
You
know
eat
how
it
hangry I am.
12
Get out of my
times a
way.
day. It's like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Do you know what sounds good for a midnight snack? Cottage cheese and avocado.
Is it Shar? Can you bail me out of this discussion, Shar? Hey, are you on the
Halloween
line? Hi.
and Hi, I go for after Halloween, and for 75% off, I buy the plastic vampire teeth and rubber snakes and rings and all that, and little booklets, and save them for the next year. They don't go bad. And then I'm not eating candy either.
That
no
is
temptation
genius.
for me.
Yes, I love it. So you give away fun things.
Yeah, I mean, they get candy from everybody else. They can get vampire teeth. They can take them to school the next day and have fun, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome. Love it. Thanks so much for calling. Happy Halloween. How about that dentist in the neighborhood who gives out toothbrushes?
I would never, ever go to a dentist that hands out toothbrushes. Like that just, it feels like you're missing the entire point of Halloween.
Listen to this one, Dave. You think I'm having issues with cottage cheese and avocado. One year they got one kid in there, a kid, one of my neighbors gave, I'm misinterpreting this text because you probably did voice to text, but it sounds like one of their neighbors gave away kiwi. I like kiwi. I would totally be at that house. I love kiwi. How about Snickers or Baby Ruth? Is it Baby Ruth? It's
Baby Ruth.
Baby Ruth.
Yep.
These people say on our text line, we found little bags of pretzels shaped like bats from Sam's Club.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're hitting on something with this salty. I really like the salty.
We do hand-dipped half-size corn dogs for kids and parents.
Oh, my. Are you serious? Hand-dipped corn dogs?
They get 350 of them.
Where are you at? Can I get an address on that? Address check?
That's awesome.
My neighbors have done this for years. They do scones. We love it. Scones and hot chocolate. We sit around, the parents talk.
This person's giving away rubber ducks for Halloween.
Rubber duckies.
I love it. That's super cool. I love all of these ideas. I have to decide. I'll probably see all of you at Costco or Walmart out there in South Jordan. We'll all be stepping all over each other to get the last bag of candy to give away. Or
you're going to have like generic Tootsie Roll.
Or can you imagine if I give away Tootsie Pops or anything like Tootsie Roll Pops? Is that what those things are called? I never liked them, so I don't know what they're called. Maria's up next. She'll have more information on trick-or-treat, Halloween safety, weather, what's expected. Also, we know there's been some traffic troubles on the roads out there on I-80 in the Tooele County area, so stay tuned. Maria's up next. Happy Halloween, Maria.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News